Okay. So let's see what we get some people in here. Let me put a banner up. How do I do that? We got 5 people in here. So we're just kind of starting out here. We're up at Lake Road Lodge. This is Marshall, that is the owner of Lake Road Lodge. We're going to talk a little bit about walleye fishing tonight, a little bit about ice conditions, and a little bit about whatever you want to. So I'm just going to put a ticker up here. Get rid of this. And we'll get going here. Anybody been out fishing? Any reports to pass along? You guys? Get this done, and then we'll be rolling here if I can spell right. Oh, I'm gonna put it in there now. There we go. Okay. All right, so we got 16 people in here. Let's get to the chat. Fletchum, you're not stuck on Red Lake because you're at work. I talked to you. That's kind of the hot topic today is what's going on out on Red Lake right
late
now.
This afternoon. I heard about it.
So, well, we got dang near 20 people in here. So let's. What's the ice conditions like right now?
We're waiting for ice right now.
What kind of happened over the past week?
When we left for Thanksgiving, we had what looked like a lot of ice, and then we had that 4 or 5 days of real warm. I hadn't honestly went and looked at any ice until you came today, and we threw the drone up there, and I was surprised to see what we didn't have when we went out there and looked, but might not be a bad thing either, Looked like we had fairly decent smooth ice, but 5 days of warmer temps didn't do us any favors.
Yeah, if we can get some cold weather to come now, and then we got kind of a rough day on Wednesday, the way it kind of sounds.
The wind, yeah. Hopefully, if we can skate through that, the one thing that'll help us there is virtually no ice right now on the most part of it. So by Wednesday, we won't have like 5-inch ice where we'll get the big piles. We might have some piled up stuff, but it'll probably be like that shale stuff, like half-inch, inch stuff, where isn't going to really give us any problems.
Yep. Gut shot 300 mag says Lake of the Woods ice report, please. Kind of right now there is none.
Nope, that was the ice report. 4 Mile bays froze over, Rainy Rivers froze over, small bays froze over. You're going to talk about that. Waiting. I haven't even gone out and went across 4 Mile Bay yet because there's no sense to right now at this point. Not to say I probably couldn't cross it, but until I know there's ice, we don't take chances, you know that. Yep. So until we know it's locked up, we kind of just let it be.
So I went did a little spearing today on a bay off the Rainy River, and in the bay I found about, I'll say 4 to 5 inches. And as I got closer to the break on the Rainy, I drilled that last hole, and I was like, yeah, I need to go backwards. There's maybe 3, probably. Yeah. Maybe 3. And the current didn't seem very strong, though. Didn't really pull the decoy.
No, it's not. We went from record high water levels to, honestly, in my opinion, low water levels right now, which is their plan every year, is to drop it in the wintertime. Yep. Honestly, I was hoping for a little more water going into the fall, but I think everybody got real concerned after the high water we had. They don't want that to happen again, and we'll get it back.
So anybody in the chat here, if you just came in a little bit late, we're at Lake Road Lodge up on Lake of the Woods. Marshall contributes to the fishing report every week. So if you have any questions for Marshall, Lake Road Lodge, just put them in the chat there, and we will get to them. We're going to talk a little bit about the ice conditions. There's not a whole lot to talk about right now on Lake of the Woods. Up at the north end, there is some ice up there. It's not great, but we got some cold temperatures coming, so hopefully we are going to get some travelable ice pretty soon. But if these temps hold, if the forecast holds and these temps come up to what they're talking, some negative digits, it shouldn't take too long kind of to get
No,
rolling.
I'm just pulling it up here.
Because I think late this week we were.
Yeah, and after tomorrow, we're looking at getting colder, with some below zero stuff beginning of next week, which is good. You know me, I don't ever like to tell you when we're going to be on the ice, but
you just never know.
I think, you know, if I had to guess a date, I don't like to guess dates that much, but it's going to be somewhere between 10th and the 15th.
Yep.
Is a pretty good guess.
And that's is that kind of a typical starting date?
We like that. Yep. If we always like to say, if we can be out there by the 15th and fishing, it's okay.
Pretty good. Yep.
That's with our rental houses set. There'll be some foot traffic before that, four-wheeler traffic before that also.
Yep. So what, for the folks that maybe don't know, let's talk about your outfit here a little bit. What do you kind of run here?
Well, we're a motel setting with 16 units, 64 beds. We do ice fishing. We have 10 sleeper houses, 25 day houses. We set them, heat's on for you, bait's in it. Everything's included. You drive right to your house. We plow it.
If someone's not comfortable traveling on the ice, driving, will you guys bring them out there?
We do.
Okay. So
we do for a small fee. I think it's $5 a head to drive you out there. Yep. That being said, when it's early ice and we have to transport, we don't charge anything extra for transporting early ice, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, and most everybody likes the idea of, hey, I can go out to my house, I can come and go as I please a little bit.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. So what's your prediction, or what, I won't even say prediction, but you're open year round, so you're fishing in the summer, you're fishing in the fall and the spring. With the way the summer went, with the way the fall went, what do you think is going to happen with the walleye bite up here on Lake of the Woods going into the winter?
I'm curious to find out myself. I had probably one of the better summers fishing wise than I've had in a few years. That being said, the fish weren't exactly where we like them in the fall. Not to say they didn't come. This year, with the high water and everything, kind of turned out like a 2014 year. I explained this to you earlier.
Yep.
The difference between, and 2014 was a slower year. The difference between this year and 2014 is we had a shiner run this fall. It wasn't a gangbuster shiner run like last year, but we had a decent amount of shiners around, and I know they're still around. So I'm hoping that will have brought a few fish in. The fall fishing in the river was probably up some. Justin was here when you came in. He said it was okay fall. So nobody knows until we go out there and drop a line. Right. Hopefully we do that in a few days.
Yep.
You know.
So, you know, when the shiners are running and come up to the river to spawn in the fall, the walleyes are not far behind, because that's what they feed on. Right.
So I'm guessing there's going to be fish around. Is it going to be like it has been the last couple of years because it's been okay? I don't know.
Yep.
You know, if it's down a little, wouldn't surprise me at all. You know, but we always manage to go find some fish.
Yep. So when you start fishing, like in the winter, you start pretty close to Pine Island, don't you? I mean, you're, you know,
right off.
And then kind of throughout the winter, you guys just kind of keep moving.
Work our way to the north and the west.
So what's the logic behind that, or are those fish moving, or is it just kind of like
logic is clean ice, not fished before?
Okay. Do you ever work back?
Yes. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Last year it worked really well for us. We kind of ran out of the fish. I think we jumped over the top of them. Fishing got slower for us. I just decided that, no, we're going to bring part of the fleet back. We did, and it paid off. Mm-hmm. Really good, actually.
Now, did you have some troubles last year with excess snowfall?
Yes. It was a tough one.
Last year was a tough. let's see here. August West. You know what that is? He said Marshall is the man.
Yep.
How much ice does Mille Lacs have? Oh, look,
I drove by Mille Lacs on my way home from the lake this weekend, and there was like nothing. You could pretty much say nothing.
I think some of the bays were froze. One of my friends was out there, but he said
It looked like the harbors were froze.
He was looking a quarter mile out into the lake, and he was watching guys fishing boats. So if you can ice fish and you got boats not too far away, that's pretty good. I'll go over some of the comments here and make sure that I don't miss anything. Stayed at Lake. Well, those guys stayed here last year. Okay, I've got to know them through YouTube. From Wisconsin, they stayed here. Nice place. It is. It's a very nice place. Very clean, very homey, friendly, laid back atmosphere. Good guys that work here. I know most of your ice team, and they've always been just great. I mean, it's a good experience.
John, Jim, Tyler are all back. If you fished with us before, we got Joe. He'll be new this year. I think he's going to work out real good. He'll be good in the mix. We're still small enough where we know every one of our customers, and that's what I want. I don't want to ever be to the point where you're a number, and I won't ever be like that, because we like clean, we like cleanly, and that's how we sell ourselves, you know.
Mm-hmm. Dave S says we need to call them evening now. We do. We need some.
We need about 5 of them.
Yep, and some. You know, I'm not the kind of guy that enjoys 20 below zero, but
I'd love it.
We could have 5 nights like that, and, and some calm. That would really be good. That would really get things going. Lake Road Lodge, where are you at?
We are 12 miles north of Baudette, up on Wheeler's, right when you're coming into Wheeler's Point, a mile south of the Wheeler's Point public access.
So yeah, you're just right down from like
2 blocks to the west of Sportsman's Lodge. And that's where generally most of our customers will walk to and go have supper, entertainment, whatever. It's just right there.
Right on the main, was it 172 here?
Yep.
And just look for the red sign on if you're going towards the lake on the right-hand side of the road, and if you're leaving the lake on the left side. August West says he had John Newberg as a guide a few times. Can't say enough good things about him. I would agree. John's a good guy. Let's see here. No, you cannot miss Lake Road Lodge if you're heading down 172. So now we're getting into ice fishing here. Once you start the business going, it's basically full bore until
wide open.
Yep. Until you get into the
we like to hit. I like to hit March 15th. Like to hit it. If we can't, we can't. But generally, we get there real close to it.
So you like right now, if you're watching this and you've not been up here before, you're planning a trip to Lake of the Woods or whatever. If you're a pike fisherman, if you like to do tip ups, if a guy wanted to come up here and do tip ups, you got openings right now, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and there is a couple accesses I do know that are open. Can I say them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can
I know Bugsy's is letting 4-wheeler traffic out and put traffic out. Just to bay only. That's 4 Mile Bay and their staked road. They aren't advertising anything out in the lake, but they are pretty heavy into, the northern thing. But the small bays, like where you were today, if you just take your time, there's usually a public access on most small bays. Be careful, and there's a lot of good pike fishing.
Good pike fishing right now. I mean, they're up shallow.
We're gonna get some tomorrow.
Yep. So. Here's a question. One of my friends says, I heard an investment group bought most of the resorts. Opinion.
There was a investment group, Bluefin, Lutzen. They purchased 3 resorts and are leasing the 4th one. My opinion, I can't really make one right now. I guess I don't have anything bad to say. I have visited with the owners, and they haven't really changed any of their management. So can't honestly say that we'll be run any differently, And
it's free market. I mean, I guess if,
I don't.
Here is and we'll tackle all those hard hitting questions. You ask a question, we'll answer it, unless it's something. Typically, move your houses shallower, late ice.
Yes, and early ice. What we do is really talk about shallow houses. One thing that we do on early ice is we'll do like until like the middle of January. We'll do deep shallow package fishing. Where because you get that early season ice shallow and like that 12 to 15 feet of water can be really, really good too. So we do kind of cater to that too. So if you come and you say, hey, I want to fish shallow in the mornings and the evenings and I want a deep house in the afternoons, we'll take care of that till about February 1st. And then that kind of tapers off. But then in March, we'll come back to that shallower stuff.
Okay. So let's say you're coming up here, let's be hypothetical here, because since there is no ice on the lake right now, but when there's 6-8 inches, you can get out on a wheeler. What would you recommend someone to target coming to Baudette and fishing near Pine Island? What would you recommend for them to look for?
A target depth that I like when I go out there, first trip, I've never been a super shallow guy unless it's like that last couple hours in the morning and evening where I'll target that 8 to 12 foot of water. I personally prefer that 18 feet to 20 if I can get there and fish it. That's just my personal opinion. I know there would be guys that say 16 feet all day long, but I like that. In the evenings, I like that a little bit, that 8 to 12. Really good.
So are those fish, I mean, just from experience, does it seem like those fish are moving up closer to the mouth of the river or
all along Pine Island? It seems like you don't have to be close to the gap, but I'd never, especially early ice, would ever suggest anybody goes close to the Lighthouse Gap to shallow fish because of the currents and whatnot. But anywhere along Pine Island and shallow, and that brings back to, you were talking about pike fishing. You get late into March and that 8 to 12 feet of water for pike and tip ups can be amazing.
Do you have live shiners like last year?
We do right now. Yes, we do. I think we'll make it. Well, I haven't opened a box yet, but I think I'll be good until at least February 1st. Any relation to Rusky?
There's a question here that I missed, I think. I've got an opinion on this, but we'll ask you first. Opinion on the Canadian live bait ban.
I don't fish Canada a lot just because I guide in the States, but I run up there and I do fish on my own. And when I go to Canada, I mainly do the smallmouth thing, so you really don't need it.
Right.
But I don't know. Everybody that has stayed with me and fishes over there, because we get quite a few that'll stay here, bounce across the border and fish. A lot of guys have said that they can get it done with power baits.
No, that's in the summer.
Plastic, right? Summer, wintertime, I'm not the guy to ask.
Yeah, it's a little tougher. So my opinion on it, I understand where they're coming from. Do I like it? I don't. In the summertime when I'm going across the border and fishing in Canada, which I do almost every time I go up there, plastics work just great. In the wintertime, it's a little different. In the summer, your boat is always moving. Even if you're spot locked or whatever, you still have that movement. I think, that helps you. But in the winter, when you're dead still, it's going to be a little tougher. But that is something that I'm going to focus on this winter, is try to learn how to catch fish.
Yeah, and the problem is up there is there's just not enough bait dealers. And and it all started out as a COVID thing where we don't want to deal with checking people's bait and this and that. And I honestly think it's turned into they want to try to have their own bait dealers sell bait now. Is the only way I can think about it. I don't want to badmouth anybody, but
right.
But the problem is where I go up there and fish, there's just no bait dealers.
Right. Yep. There's a couple.
Yeah.
Up the angle, there's a couple, but you got to go a ways. And once you would bring, because I talked to one of the MNR guys on the water last fall. So if you were to go and buy bait from someone that sells bait in Ontario, And once you bring it across the border back to Minnesota, it's you can't bring it back again. So even if you have a receipt and all that stuff, it's good for, basically what he told me is good for 1 day. So let's see here. Here's a question. We're getting behind just a little bit, but that's okay. Braid or fluoro for mainline ice fishing? Myself, I use braid and then I tie a fluoro leader. This year I might try just going strictly fluoro, but as of right now, I'm typically using a braided line, main line, and then a leader.
Same. I don't even necessarily use fluoro. I'll use good old Trilene XL 8-pound as that leader, mono.
Okay.
Like the Woods of Dark Lake. You don't necessarily got to have the fluoro, but I do like the mono behind it.
I won't ban them. I mean, and it's all about opinion. Like, I get the benefit or the benefits to the bait ban. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to cut down on invasive species and things like that. I get it, but I think if you're getting bait from the same body of water just because it's in two different countries, you know, who am I to say? I'm not a biologist, but I don't know. It wouldn't bother me to be able to buy
especially
bait.
When you have a bait dealer like myself. I catch my own bait. I sell my own bait. I tag my bait. I've gone through every channel.
Right.
You know.
Yep. And I guess, but it's, hey, I can drive there, so I'm pretty happy about that. So, Todd Bretthorst says Marshall, Sarah, and the crew run a top-notch resort. You must know him. I see this.
Yes, I do. Hi, Todd.
And
you and Tammy need to come up this winter. Haven't seen you for a couple of years.
That would probably be accurate there. Oh, here's one. August has a question for both of us. Do you think the fish numbers are down on Lake of the Woods? And if so, what do you think the answer to the problem is?
That's a hard one to answer. Fish population wise, when I spoke with the DNR biologist this fall, when I was getting some equipment tagged, was honestly surprised me. They said their fall creel net surveys were actually up, which surprised me. Is it down? Well, it ain't what it was in the early and mid 2000s by any means. Is the lake dead? No. That's a hard question to answer. How do you control it? You don't. It's hard to control.
Let me ask you a question. If the state said we are going to lower the walleye limit on Lake of the Woods to 2, would you be for that or against it?
I would have to seriously think about it. I don't think I'd be against it for the most part. I'm not saying I'm for it. I think there's some combinations of them things they could do with lower limits and then possession limits to still give people the same amount of fish traveling home, but not maybe taking 4 a day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I would. It wouldn't bother me to see the limit reduced.
Nope.
Because I don't keep a lot of fish, but I don't typically fish Minnesota a lot either. But it wouldn't bother me. Personally, myself, I would like to see more enforcement on Lake of the Woods.
Agreed.
There's people that come up here and take over limits all the time.
Yes.
I
150% agree.
I'd like to see more enforcement.
I have no issues with the DNR. I don't think there's enough of it up here.
Just for the fishery that we have, the enforcement presence, I think, is too low.
Yes, agreed.
You can catch it all on worms. I wonder. I think that goes back to the bait thing from Backwoods there. We are not able to bring any bait across worms or anything anymore. Used to be you could and not. But slab wraps, you ever use those?
Yep, do. Like them in the winter, tried them in the summer, probably better luck on them in the winter time. Ripping wraps, slab wraps.
I think that's part of the question there, but that's
I like them shallow. When we were talking about that shallow stuff, I like them shallow.
Sturgeon fishing is illegal on the Ontario side of the Rainy River in this. Well,
It is not
all year.
No, Ontario does not have as far as I know, does not have a sturgeon season.
Yep. So it's illegal. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Do you have any smelt? If a guy wants to come up here tip of fishing, do you?
I do not have smelt here, but Log Cabin Bait and Liquors have smelt and everything else. I will have suckers as of tomorrow. Couldn't get them today for Cody, but he's bringing them tomorrow.
So Fletch says that the Department of Fisheries stated this was the best walleye spawn this spring in recorded history. Oh, I forgot to come up with my answer too for the wall. And I have no biology background. Just on what I've experienced, I've been fishing Lake of the Woods since 2014, mostly, or actually 2012, but mostly on the Canadian side. But a couple of years ago, I did an interview with the DNR with Phil
Tomlich.
Yep, up here at the fisheries, and we were talking about that. And there's in the certain times of the winter, or during the winter, there's a lot of like fish houses. They flew over and said they counted 4,200 one year or whatever, but those houses are on a kind of a thin swath of water. I mean, Lake of the Woods is how many acres?
1.5 million or something.
So
like
how many?
That. I don't know exact. I know there's people going to call me out on that number, but it's big.
But I mean, all of the water is never fished.
Yeah, you're right.
So I mean, just from in talking to them and seeing what I see catching fish, the population seems pretty decent. Now, does a guy catch as many 20 plus inches, 20 to 24s maybe as before, or that maybe 17 to 19, maybe not?
Your big fish, I mean, you ask anybody anywhere in this state, and where do you want to go to catch a 30-inch walleye, and what are they going to tell you? We're going to go to Lake of the Woods. Yep. They're there. They're there all the time. And I can tell you right now that I keep a clicker from the time I get into my charter boat on opener till the time I don't. And I know every year it's plus 15, almost to 20, over 30. And that's over 30.
Yep.
I don't click it if they're not over 30. So they're there. I mean, and in there.
Was last year a pretty good year for catching bigger fish?
It was, I would say, not the best year I've ever had, but I'd say it's right on par normal.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. How about saugers versus walleye? What was the mix? Pretty normal
in the summertime?
Yeah.
So in the summertime, it's always been, we look for walleyes in the summertime, and we have the ability to run for them. So I don't get overly excited about saugers in the summertime. So I'm the wrong guy to ask about how the saugers and walleyes are, because I focus on walleyes, and then I'll go look for saugers. Last summer, just for example, I caught most of my walleyes all summer long in probably 20 or less feet of water. And for most of the summer, I jigged all summer long. So, you're not going to get your saugers abundant there,
Mm-hmm. Yep. As I noticed, yes, I did hear about the wind causing the break on Red Lake. And I don't know, are they still in the process of rescuing people, or did they get them all off? I had not heard.
I haven't heard any updates.
Okay. Appreciate the super chat, Living MN. Appreciate that. Minimum size of 13 inches and 4 fish limit. How about this?
I'd like a minimum size of 14 inches. When I'm on my charter boat, not to interrupt, but when I'm on my charter boat in the summertime, I know there's no minimum size length, but John and I both are kind of like, if it ain't 14 inches, it ain't going in the cooler unless you really got to have something for supper. And generally, we don't even have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
No, you gotta kind of take it into your own hands a little bit and be a steward of the lake too, other than letting the DNR make regulations for you. You're a grown man,
Yep.
It ain't always about going home with those 4 walleyes every day.
Right. Yep. What would you say the average size of the walleyes were that you caught this year? If you just took a stab, what would you say?
15 to 18 inches.
Okay, so pretty nice ones then.
Yes.
What was the biggest walleye you guys boated this year?
31.
31. Have you ever boated a 32?
I have one.
On the Rainy?
No.
No?
It was right up off of Oak Island where you wouldn't think you'd catch a 32-inch walleye.
Wow. Yes, I agree. But it's just, I think the problem is there's not enough bodies up here. There's not enough COs in the area to cover. You know, that gets to be the issue.
Well, we are supposedly getting 2 new ones to Baudette here for wintertime, what I've heard.
Here's a question about late ice tip-up fishing. Has everything hooked? Any special info on big pike?
Yeah, 4 Mile Bay is awesome. Like I mentioned earlier, that 8 to 12 foot right in front of Pine Island is really good late. The break line in the bay is really good for northerns. You get in that 4 to 6 feet, right on the edge of that break line. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Even the other side, you know, that Morris Point Gap, Zipple Bay, that area, that whole shoreline along there. You get up along the fields, it gets a little more rubbly. Can be some really, really good pike fishing late.
Oh, has him hooked. Okay. So yeah, if a guy wants to come up here and go tip-up fishing, you can accommodate that.
Yes. We do some tip-up fishing guiding in the spring. It's kind of we don't really advertise it. If somebody calls and says, hey, we want to do it, if we got time, we'll do it. We love doing it. It's easy. It's fun, actually. It's easy and it's fun.
Yep. Are you worried about Lake of the Woods becoming overregulated like Mille Lacs?
A little bit. I don't know if all the regulations were good for Mille Lacs. I don't know. I don't know if I have a complete opinion on that.
I think there's a difference.
You know,
is that
it depends on how you regulate it. I think Mille Lacs is a different demon simply because you're dealing with tribal affairs there.
Yep.
And stuff like that. Is that the right way to put it? You know, same way with red.
It's the truth.
You know, it's truth.
It's
you know,
the truth. It is what it is.
Not to say, I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, get the wrong opinion there, but yeah, I think that it could be maybe a little bit overregulated.
In Mille Lacs, I've fished Mille Lacs once or twice, and I wasn't. No offense, Daniel. Don't get mad at me, but I wasn't overly impressed. But I think it's a very good fishery, really good for muskies, pike,
Smallies.
stuff like that. Yeah, huge smallmouth come on Mille Lacs, but it's just like any big body of water that you just go to. It takes time to kind of figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's
not a small body of water.
No,
I mean,
no, it's big.
We were driving by it last weekend, and Sarah is like, "Wow, I can't see across it," because I think it's the first time I've ever driven her by it. You know, and I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's big."
Yep.
I mean, it ain't no small beans.
Have you fished Mille Lacs?
One time. Many years.
Long time ago. Yeah, nighttime bans, bait bans. Is there bait bans on Mille Lacs?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know if there is either. Closing the season midsummer, those type of regulations. Yep. You know, I think. Let me ask you this question: do you think, because there's different regulations for Lake of the Woods because it's a boundary water.
Mm-hmm.
If it was managed like the rest of the state, do you think that would make a difference? Because you wouldn't have pike fishing open all year. You wouldn't have that where walleye closes.
I think it would help. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. But I want to be here in 15 years. My personal opinion is the spring walleyes in the Rainy River, you know, it's catch and release only now, which has helped, but let them fish do them things.
Yep.
Their things once in a while. You know, I mean, we've gotten to the point where our sturgeon are up so much, it's turned into a whole nother game and a whole nother, you've learned it. You're
Yes,
hooked.
yes.
And our spring guiding has turned more into sturgeon than it has into walleyes. Yeah.
So that's one thing that we had not touched on. If you're wanting to try sturgeon, get into sturgeon, you offer trips for that too. You bought a
Yep,
Woodcraft
and it's
this year,
only
didn't you?
John and I both have boats, and it's only a 10-day season, so that's only 20 trips. So, and it will fill up.
But you fish the non-catch or the non-keep portion too.
We'll do it all.
Yep.
That 20 trips I'm talking about is the keep season. It's 10 days.
Yep.
We'll do it all. Fall is actually we caught some big ones this fall.
Downfall Mille Lacs was cleaning up the sewer systems. Interesting.
Haven't heard that one.
I would ride if they did a nighttime ban, Sleeper House Life. That's what Dave S. says. Night ban on Mille Lacs is only open water. Have you heard of any? I haven't heard of any new regulations, I guess, that I can think of at the top of my head for Lake of the Woods this year. You think of anything that was new?
No, I haven't heard of anything new.
Do you think it's safe to get really fatted and walk out onto the ice? I don't know what fatted. It must be a
typo.
Must be a typo, or some take cutting. Huh. I don't know if that's. I have no idea what that guy's trying to say. They actually they were in other countries. What's your favorite thing about this time of year, getting ice fishing going? What's kind of your favorite thing about this time of year?
Everybody's excited.
Yeah.
The phones ring. Everybody wants to know what we're thinking, when we're thinking. We got our ice shows coming up. It's always fun to go see everybody at the ice shows. You've done Fargo with me.
Yep.
We'll be in St. Paul this coming weekend. It's fun. I mean, it's fun. People come, they just want to visit. It's fun.
Yep. Are you busier in the winter than you are in the summer?
Yes.
Yeah, by far.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about the ice show that you got coming up in St. Paul.
We'll be in St. Paul this coming weekend. It's our first time we've gone there, so it's a little bit new to me. And I've never gone to the show, not even as a customer. So it's going to be new to me. But we've done Fargo, the 4 years that they've had it now. So other than a lot bigger scale, it can't be that much difference. And if you guys are down there, stop and see us.
Are you doing any ice show specials like you did last year?
Yes. Hold on.
You'll get the brochure.
I just want to make sure this is proper.
55 people in the chat. Appreciate all you guys watching as he goes and gets the brochure. We're just hanging out up here at Lake Road Lodge. Tried to do a little spearing today for a couple hours and decided we'd do a live stream and just kind of see what's going on. Everyone likes to talk ice fishing. I know I do. I like to talk fishing just in general. But,
absolutely.
So
our show special is any midweek trip booked at the show will receive 10% off with a 2-person minimum. And we are also giving away 2 nights lodging, 2 days fishing for 2 people. This could be your choice of a day house, staying here at the motel, or a sleeper. Okay. And we're doing this. This will be actually 2 giveaways. We're doing one in St. Paul and one in Fargo.
Okay. So you have to be present at the ice show to get involved into that.
You have to be present, sign up, and win, and then we will get a hold of you.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see here if I missed anything here. We're just talking about Mille Lacs a little bit. So as we get into the ice fishing season, what do you kind of think once we get this ice built, we get going, if the conditions are good and you get going, how many, talking about your sleeper houses a little bit, how many what's the capacity of your sleeper houses?
Most of our sleeper houses are 10 by 20s with 4 persons. You've stayed in them before. We have a couple 2-mans. We have a 3-man. You pretty much, you bring your food, drink, your gear, your sleeping bag, your pillow. Other than that, we supply everything: the pots, the pans, the paper products, everything like that. I mean, right down to your plastic forks, knives, everything. And it's all listed on our website. and it's all there.
Person comes up here and
It's just less to pack.
forgets their Vexlar.
We'll run them.
Okay.
We got them.
Generators.
We got it.
Okay. So basically, you got the generators, you got Vexlars that need them.
Yep.
You sell bait.
Your bait's included. Your chubs are always included in your stay.
Okay.
Even in a day house rental, your road fees are included in your stay. When you stay in a sleeper house, also you want to come back, you want to take a shower. We have it right here in the lodge, no extra charge. Like our wheelhouse customers, we do charge $10 a shower, but like our sleeper house people, well, come in, use a shower.
Okay. Nice.
We have pizzas here. We get 4 guys in. We usually have a pizza, whatever. Take a shower.
Cool. Okay. St. Paul Ice Expo is massive. There was a question
It's gonna
here.
be fun.
What's the best ice hut?
Ice hut. Ice
So
house.
I would say that's Canadian,
Or-
a Canadian feller, because they usually call them huts.
we talking portables?
Fella or gal, looking by the picture, might be a gal. What's your favorite portable?
Don't really have one, to be rightly honest with you.
Because you don't ever
I
really use portables.
don't use portables. If I had a favorite portable,
You're an
she'd
Eskimo
be
guy, right?
no. Honestly, if I had a favorite portable, she'd be about a 6x8 Illuminalight behind a Bearcat.
Yeah.
That'd be portable enough for me,
Yeah.
and I think that'd be pretty cool portable.
Yep. I go with the Otter. I fish portables almost strictly, and I would definitely go with the Otter over the Clam. The experience that I've had, I got the Resort, I think now, the flip over, and then I got a pop up, and I switched totally to Otter. Part of the reasoning for the pop up switch to Otter was for spearing. They let less light in.
You don't do hubs?
I've got one pop up hub, yeah,
Okay.
but I've got the one flip over too. So the flip over, I leave at the angle.
Okay.
Any other questions you guys got? That's a very good answer off the hook. A warm one. A warm portable is the best one. Good. Come back again. Thoughts on will the economy and job layoffs around the country impact your season? Have you noticed that in the past couple of years? With fuel prices and
Fuel prices affected. Well, it's hard to say because there was a multitude of everything. We talked about this earlier today. Yep. We had high fuel prices this year with, the economy being a little bit down with the high water and the Canadian border opening up. So when we were talking today, I would say this summer our business was down some. But I think when you put all those three together, then you end up with like a perfect storm effect. Right. And I think, next summer, because I haven't seen anything that would tell me that anybody's slowing down for winter, to be rightly honest with you.
Because your business during the pandemic, when the border was closed and all that stuff, was actually up a little bit. Yeah, because guys couldn't get to Canada.
They couldn't go to Canada and people just wanted to get away.
Yep. And then when kind of that went, you saw business dip a little bit. And then just kind of how long do you own this place?
2017 we bought it. We managed it for 2 years prior to that, so 2015. So a lot of these people, if they're looking at it, they think they've seen us here since 2015.
So kind of an overall average, has business been about the same?
I would call business this summer to probably a pre-pandemic level, maybe a little bit down, but not much.
Okay. So pretty average.
Yes.
Okay. In the winter, like we talked before, the winters is way better than summer. And why do you think that is? Summer.
I'll tell you why. Because in the summertime, we live in the land of 10,000 lakes. We got 10,000 to compete with in the summertime. We got about a big 3 or a big 4 in the wintertime. Right. You have Lake of the Woods, you got Red Lake, you got Mille Lacs, you got Winnie, maybe Leech. So you got, I call it the big 4 or the big 5 in the wintertime. So that's my theory on everything.
I would agree. It's much easier to in the summer take a little boat and get out on a little lake if you want to, where it's a lot tougher in the winter. At St. Paul, I'm going to be fishing, Daniel. So I won't be going to the Fargo show either because I'm going to be fishing. I'm going to be off for 20 days and I'm going to be fishing my tail off.
This is the first I heard about that because about 3 days ago you said I might be there.
I said maybe, but well, I mean, I guess if we don't have ice, that would be different. If I can't fish, then
So we want a live report at the show from you then.
well, that'd work. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. See, I missed some comments here. Bryant likes the clams. I'm not saying they're bad. I just really, really think the otters are maybe built a little bit better. But Fletch says, used to be clam until I started fishing harder and on big water. Otter is the only way when you're on the bigger stuff. I would agree. No, St. Paul ice show for this guy. Generator fuel. That's very cost to drive 5 hours for most people. Right. Yes. The cost of travel. Get caught up here. Try to keep our own private ice road going. It's difficult. Last year was almost possible to later. Yeah, last year the snow, just the blizzard after blizzard after blizzards and wind and just ridiculous. I probably, Bryant, I'm probably going to be spending most of the time up at my place up at the Northwest Angle because there's just no lake on earth like Lake of the Woods, in my opinion. And especially when you get up north, there's just no comparison.
Agreed.
Much less danger in the winter. We need a special boat to fish that South Shore most days. How this year for wind, was the wind down or up a little bit, you think, this year? Or was it pretty average?
I'd say it's pretty average. A lot of people get scared. There's so many options here, though. And what I've seen it the last couple of years, and like this year when I bought my Aluminacraft, I've had a lot of people. I've had, not to get away from like talking about walleyes and saugers, but I've had more smallmouth trips and requests and everything else for it. And honestly, the Rainy River is a pretty big smallmouth factory, and it's pretty amazing too. We'll do a show sometime on it. It's pretty awesome.
Let's talk about smallmouth a little bit. What are you looking for when you go out on the Rainy and you're looking for smallmouth?
Yeah, there's rock piles and there's a few of them. You got to find them. You got to know where they're at. I found a couple the hard way pre-fishing for the Chili Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, ain't fun replacing stainless props, but
biggest smallmouth that you caught this year?
Oh, out of the Rainy, we'll post some pictures later, but I don't know. I don't know if we measured them up, but they had been pushing 20 inches. They're monsters.
Would you say the population is like pretty good?
Oh yeah, really good.
Huh.
You take the Kenora smallmouth tournament, and I don't have the statistics on it, but I know guys that have fished it before. And I want to say out of the last 10 years, I know there's going to be somebody that looks up the statistics and calls me out on it. But I would say over the last 10 years on that smallmouth tournament in Kenora, it's been won, I wouldn't say 50% of the time, but a handful of times right out of the Rainy River. They come all the way down here to catch their smallmouths.
Really? Huh. Wow.
Yeah. Best minnows for walleyes on the ice. Shiners.
Guess we're on our way on our own for the Fargo show. Divine time.
Oh, no, I'll be there, Mike. Cody's going to give up on us.
Is there, well, if there's no ice, that would be different. That'd be different. Oh, okay. Okay. Is there good ice up here already? No.
Nope.
No,
we're waiting.
Pretty much none right now.
Yep, you could say that.
You could get out. Well, I wouldn't even recommend walking out there, but I'm just saying, like, what is there? Maybe we were at Grace
300 yards.
Yeah, 300 yards ice.
Ice, we don't even know if it's good.
Open water. Any cell signal on Winnibigoshish? Daniel, is there good cell service up there? That's one thing to talk about up here real quick. I noticed this year up at the Angle.
Yeah, not good.
I used to be a Verizon customer, and I'm not anymore. I'm AT&T, and AT&T is perfect, and it's been really good here too. Are you still on Verizon?
I'm on Verizon, on the edge of trying to figure something else out because this year we've had to go like backwards in time with Verizon, and we've had to go back more to the Marine Band radio thing and everything else. And I've heard lots of conflicting reasons why that is. I mean, all from the 5G signals on the way they're sent to just overusage of towers. So I don't know the answer with Verizon right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hope they can figure it out.
Well, I'll tell you from experience that switching to AT&T was a good thing for me.
Was it?
Yeah, AT&T works really good up here.
Okay.
Just in the areas
Good
that
to
I've been
know.
around here, but up at the angle, I've never had phone service up into Canada, probably 6, 7, 8 miles with Verizon. Never had it, and now with AT&T, I actually have data up 6, 7, 8 miles into
Okay.
Canada, a radius around the angle. The first time I went to the angle this spring or summer, whatever it was, had no phone service at my house, and I've never had that before. And I called Verizon, complained, and it didn't really seem like they cared. And so I went to AT&T that day, and now I've never had full service or was able to use data in my house up there because my exterior is metal. And with AT&T, I have full data in my house.
Good to know.
So-
I might have to check that out.
So
because
AT&T is
it really, this summer was really noticeable. It was just not good.
Yep.
And I mean, we get so reliant on cell service. Everybody knows
absolutely, yep.
that. And no, it really actually went backwards in time. We were relying more on our marine band radios.
Yep. So, and if you're a first responder, AT&T has what's called FirstNet, and not advertising for AT&T here, but it works good for me. And unlimited talk, text, and data is $45 a month, and a 50 gigabyte hotspot is an extra $5. So for $50, that's pretty cheap. You can't, but let's see here. Any other questions? Kind of just about Lake of the Woods, fishing in general in Lake of the Woods, fishing in Minnesota in general. What's your top destination if you could go to another lake and fish in Minnesota? Where would it be, and what for?
Me?
Yeah.
In Minnesota. Got into some pretty awesome good times. I'm not going to name the small lake because the guy that took me out to crucify me. I'm just going to say it was in the Otter Tail County area on crappies and sunnies, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Amazing. Be back. Do it next year again.
Do you, speaking of crappies, do you run into crappies ever?
Yeah, we do. We get them here off and on,
Are they more prevalent in the winter or summer?
Winter. For what reason, I don't know. I think they school a little more, but we get them in the wintertime, a little more in the summer. It ain't a lot, and you can't target them. Everybody's like, well, let's go find perch. Well, it's kind of hard. Right. If you get a perch up here, it's a big perch.
Yep.
But,
Have you noticed a difference in perch fishing from the time that you own this place till now? Better, worse?
No,
really?
I don't think it's any better, any worse. You get those places in the fall where you can go find some perch and you're going to get them. Honestly, I think there's a few places where we never found them before. It might be better, but no, I don't know if it's a lot better. I don't think it's any worse, though.
Best minnow for walleye on Lake of the Woods ice.
Shiners.
Okay. Dead or alive?
Loaded question because I sell bait.
Right.
If I got a live shiner, I'm going to use it. Now, if I don't, I'm going to use a frozen one, and I'm going to catch fish too. A lot of the old timers will tell you it doesn't matter, and a lot of old timers will say they'd prefer a dead one. So,
what? How do you like to hook them?
A live shiner, I will hook it through the mouth, side of the gills, and I'll snap half of it off and jig it with a spoon. I love spoons. A frozen shiner, I'll use the whole thing.
Okay. Is there any variation summer to winter?
Wintertime, I'll always use a whole shiner. Okay. Summertime, I'll use a half a shiner. It's live.
Really? Appreciate you, Backwoods. Have a good one and come back if you can. Stick with regular chubs and usually have a frozen pack of shiners just in case on Lake of the Woods. Have you
always have a frozen shiner?
Have you ever used the magic minnows? Like I call them the formaldehyde minnows. They're the dried out ones. Used to use them all the time until they canceled bait because they never went bad and they were easy to maintain. And like even if you borax and freeze your minnows.
See, I freeze my own minnows, but I will not use borax. I do not. It's a chemical, and I know you got your people that'll call you say difference. I brine my minnows with canning salt, and
canning salt is what I meant actually.
Yes, canning salt. But a lot of guys will use borax.
Yep.
And they say that's okay. I don't know. Cleaning freaking chemicals on my
fillets, no.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to eat it.
I guess I guess.
Yep. But there's people that'll call and say it doesn't matter. But
limit your harvest, not harvest your limit. I would agree.
Limit your harvest. I love it.
I got behind you a little bit. You ever fish Lake Superior?
Yes, I have. I fished for trout, not walleyes.
So I fished Lake Superior quite a bit. Lake of the Woods and Mille Lacs is scarier in the wind within reason. So Lake of the Woods for me, the last 3 years having to go across Lake of the Woods in the summertime in the boat, there was a couple times when I'm not gonna lie, I was downright damn scared. Like it was when you come out of the angle and you get to the south tip, I think is it Sugar Point or whatever it is, and you got that big wide open lake and it's blowing.
Yep.
That just sucks. Like there's no part about that that's fun at all.
You're right. But one thing to take in thought, if you leave from Wheeler's Point access right here, you can run behind, and I'll do it with my little Lumnicraft all the time. I'll run Canada behind Big Island and Bigsby Island and right up into the Northwest Point. And it really only puts you at about 4 miles where you're really subject to the only really bad wind that's going to get you is a straight west wind in that last 4 miles. And you can navigate the whole thing. And one cool thing about it is you can navigate through it. You can have your live bait, you can have your beer, just don't stop and fish. Mm-hmm. But you can freely, safely, and legally navigate through it.
Mm-hmm. And I was talking about coming back to Warroad from the you're
open.
You're just unprotected. Now, been out on Superior when it's been kind of windy, probably 4 or 5 footers. It's scary if you're out a ways, but that lake is so big, like you can't, it's just crazy. But there's just something about coming around the south end of the angle, heading for Warroad in a 10, 15 mile an hour, 20 mile an hour. No, yuck. There's just something about looking at that dark, dirty, murky water.
Yep.
It just, sucks.
You're asking a guy like me, though, that I've had.
And you're in a big charter.
Yeah. Well, I've done it in a small boat, too, but I've done it so much.
You maybe get used to it, but it's just not something that I get used to.
But used to and complacent isn't real safe either.
Right. Appreciate it, Boxy. Catch up on some of the chat. Sat phones. Not really any need for a...
Don't know anything about them. Never used one.
Yep. Garmin InReach, or I think it's called InReach. Is it Garmin or Magellan or something like that?
I don't know.
Has
I have no idea.
Let's see here. What's your top net buddy? Appreciate that comment. What is your top producing bait to catch all those 30+ inch walleyes?
It depends on the time of the year. If we're fishing spring, I want the biggest, fattest frozen shiner minnow I can find. And I'm talking big. I want a 4-inch shiner and not a golden shiner. I want an emerald shiner. Okay. There's a big difference, contrary to popular beliefs. A lot of people will tell you there's not, but there is.
Well, I think bigger baits.
in the middle of this, and then we go into, once we get through that first couple weeks, then we turn into when we can get into that jumbo leech bite in the summertime. That will catch you. Leeches by far after probably the first few days of June. You may not catch numbers of fish on leeches, but you'll generally get bigger fish on leeches.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. If I could explain it, I'd have a lot more, but
I do like, is that with pulling spinners?
no, jigging. And you know me, I'm a jigging guy.
Yep.
And even pulling spinners, generally when I put a spinner on, I'm pulling a crawler. I'll fish with leeches on spinners and a few minnows, but not a lot of minnows on spinners. But generally when I go to a spinner, I got a crawler on.
Okay. Ice fishing, obviously you're going to use minnows, catching bigger fish.
Big fish. If I'm fishing in the shallows and I want to, in the only year we're talking talking about that shallow evening bite, I got a jig and wrap on.
Okay. I concur.
I got a jig and wrap on. And
like
color, don't matter.
Yep.
Just make it move.
I do like perch colored and the silver and red.
Give me a silver and blue one.
Okay. If someone called and said, "Hey, I'm really trying to target a big walleye. It's December 15th. You just opened up. You got 10 inches ice, 8 inches ice, whatever, or whatever, Wheeler traffic, whatever. Where are you going to tell that person wants to stay here and wants to go out fishing? Where are you going to try to put them?"
Are we guiding, or are we just sending something?
Guiding. You're going to guide them. What are you going to look for? Are you going to like a certain time of day? Are you going to look for a certain depth?
I'm going to go shallow, sharp break line for the first 2 hours in the morning and the last 2 hours in the evening.
What time are you going to start?
We'll be set up half hour before daylight. So we're ready. We're fishing at the crack, and then we'll fish, right that half hour afterwards. It's easier to figure it out at night because you're going to get that bam, 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 gone.
Yep.
We're done.
Yep. It's done.
In the morning, it's hard to tell because there's been times where I've set up a half hour before daylight and it's like, boom, boom, we got fish already. Okay, should I have been here 15 minutes earlier, or did I just drop it on a 10? Have
you ever fished into the evening here much on Lake of the Woods?
Yep. Personally, I kind of like my fishing like I like my deer hunting. I'm more of an evening guy. If you got to ask me if I can have one of the two, a morning sit or an evening sit, I'm going to take you up on the evening thing personally. But I don't know.
You think fishing on Lake of the Woods is better from sunrise to noon or noon to sunset in the winter? Or do you think there's a difference even?
I'd say it's sunrise until about 10, and then you can take about a 3-hour nap, and then you're going to go from that 1, 2 o'clock until afternoon. You get that midday lull there. It just doesn't happen.
What's the best wind up here?
Summertime?
Anytime? Doesn't matter.
And actually wind affects fish in the winter. The best wind?
Are you looking at even in the winter, let's say you're just setting up on some structure, you have a west wind, are you going to fish the west side of the reef, east side, or what are you going to?
I don't know if the winter time, the wind affects which side of the reef you want to fish more than the more the wind blows, the more the ice shifts, the more noise it makes kind of deal, Summertime, you could say, okay, it's a west wind. We're going to target this side. North wind, we'll target this side. But in the wintertime, I think it's if it's a hard wind, it's a lot of noise. You got ice moving, cracking. I think that affects it more than anything. I don't necessarily say you need no wind, but.
So we did a poll question here not too long ago talking about early ice. Do you think noise affects fish?
For sure.
Foot traffic. Yep. And the big.
Absolutely.
The big group of people.
You get away from it and you will catch more fish.
Yep. So
that's why we always try to set anybody that's ever fished with me before. They'll always say, we always try to set away as much as we can safely, you know. Yeah, for sure. It always does. And I don't think it's just early ice. I think it's any time of the year.
Yep. Because even like in the summer, boat traffic, you know, if you're coming up on a reef, you try to slow down a little ways before you get there. Yep. I mean, you know.
Absolutely.
Is there anywhere a guy, sorry, I'm a little bit behind in the comments here, but we're
I would not suggest walking out of Grayston or anywhere right now. The only thing that you can do, 4 Mile Bay, you can walk out of there. I know, well, as of yesterday, I can't vouch for anybody today. That's why I don't even want to say names, but I know Bugsy's access was open on their stake trail, bay only, and I stress that, only, not the lake.
And like I was out on the Rainy today, I was on a bay off the Rainy, but the closer I got to that break to the Rainy, the thinner that ice got. And I got that last hole I drilled, I didn't jump back, but I was like, whoa,
yeah,
we're way too skinny here. Is a 6-foot wave on Lake of the Woods is worse than, well, yes, it would be because they're shorter.
Yeah, they're stacked together. Up. Yep. You know, I don't really like 6-foot waves anywhere.
No, but Superior
you know?
Isn't as bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there still an after 5 outdoors discount this year? We have 3 rooms booked from January 1 to 4.
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Cody will have that in his next fishing report.
Okay. Is there anywhere I can walk out and fish walleyes right now, Racing Beach? Nope. I wouldn't recommend it at all.
I'll say probably on that discount. I just got to okay it with headquarters.
Yep. We don't want to get you in trouble here. We want you to come back and
everybody knows who headquarters is. So
size of Jig and Wrap for Lake of the Woods.
Winter, a 5 or a 6 in the winter time. I don't like to go more than that. In the summertime, go bigger, 7.
Okay. Now, are you working the boat ahead a little bit and ripping and slapping and smashing?
If I'm in my little boat, you know, you take a Jig and Wrap in the summertime, and you can, because with a heavier one, and you cast them and work that back, works really good.
Dynamite, yes.
Works really good.
Yes.
And that's kind of what we almost do with the charter boats, because we don't have that luxury of bumping it over 10 feet.
Right. Yep.
You know?
Yep. As far as jigs in the summer, what weight jigs do you like to use?
I probably 95% of the time have a 3-ounce jig on. You don't need to be ultra light on Lake of the Woods.
3-ounce jig?
No, 3/8.
3/8. Yep. Okay.
You don't need to be ultra light on Lake of the Woods. I have no issues going to a 1/2 or a 5/8 if the wind is goofy, and a lot of customers can't handle a 3-ounce weight. If they can't figure it out, it don't hurt to go to a 1/2 or 5/8. You don't ever anywhere on that lake where you should need to, unless you are right in the current, need to go more than 5/8. Right. That being said, I went more than 5/8, you know, and I've got fish. So
I like to go as light as I can get away with is what I like to do.
Yeah, 3/8, I mean, is
the go-to though.
That's too. Every time. I mean, I've picked up smaller ones for myself. But.
Yep. Sylvain Lawrence says, playing around 6-foot waves in a small boat, not my style. Me either.
Playing around 6-foot waves in a big boat ain't my style.
Nope. I think Sylvain is from Quebec, I believe. Wind in the west, the fish bite the best. Wind in the east, the fish bite the least. I have personally found that to not be true.
I agree. You take a southeast wind on a couple parts of this south end, and it could be dynamite.
Yep. It's just wind blowing into structure or wind blowing. I've really learned that in the last couple of years, that wind blowing into shorelines, you really need to pay attention to those. I've learned that. But good days with all directions, the best wind for me is any wind that allows me out on the water.
You're 100% correct.
Absolutely. Yep. I would agree 100%. And you don't run any snow bears, but
No.
Any plans on it?
Thought about it. It's a big investment.
Mhm.
And if there's a market there, it'd be fun to know if there's actually a market there. I don't know what the price point would be to where people would want to do it to make the affordability of owning one proper. I mean,
Right.
we've talked about it,
Mhm.
you know. I don't know.
Because a new snow bear is about 80,000.
Yeah, I'd like to get some feedback on it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm against it, but
I'd love to have one, but
honestly, I think before I go to a snow bear, I would go to like a Suburban on tracks with a train of portables behind me. You could do it a lot cheaper and actually you could cover more ground.
faster.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Faster.
Probably a little more comfortable.
Yes.
You know, I mean, the snow bear is
Take 4 guys in a snow bear, or you take 4 guys in a Suburban with even 4 portables chained behind you. Yeah, pretty comfortable.
right. The only difference, I suppose, is to be a little bit of weight difference, probably, huh? Snow bear would be a little bit lighter.
Yeah,
Than a
I
Suburban?
don't know. I don't think I think that's apples. I don't think you're fiddling with much. I don't know. I would really have to do my homework on it.
And that is another thing. Talking to some guys that own some snow bears, because I was
Yes.
really, really, really looking at getting one 2 years ago. I was really, really thinking about it, and talked to some people about it. And I'm like, you know, is it like a snowmobile? I mean, because today's snowmobiles, for the most part, are fairly reliable. You know, but the engines and stuff they say are pretty decent on the snow bears, but it's your moving parts, your tracks and your suspension, your hydraulics.
Well,
and stuff
I'll tell you what. I was on a Ontario lake trout fishing trip a couple of years ago with a snow bear, and I was to the point where a little concerned about getting back, and we were out to where I was like, I wanted to make it.
Right, it's a long way.
Getting a little sketch, you know.
Yep.
The biggest thing that happened to us was we ran into so much slush. We were taking it over the top of the cab, and then we were overheating because the grill was freezing, so we'd have to get out, beat the ice because it was cold, but we're still breaking through slush. And then when we stopped and we fished, we had problems with it coming back up because we were in so much slush, the suspension. Me, personal opinion, if I were to go to the portable route, I would probably go more towards an American truck track setup on a Suburban or something at that point with a daisy chain of portables behind me or on the top.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's probably what I would do.
It'd be pretty cheap. I mean, for 80,000, you could have a pretty nice Suburban, and you could take the tracks off in the summer and drive it too if you wanted to.
It wouldn't cost you $80,000.
Right.
I mean, it would be a lot more affordable to make it affordable for the customer.
Suburban on tracks pulling 2 four-person Alumilite houses sounds like my new business idea. Yep.
I agree.
Those Alumilite houses are
They're awesome.
Nice. Yep.
They are awesome.
Here's another question for you. You'll be right. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll say for me, Humminbird, then Markham, and I had one Vexilar and I did not like it. Did not have a good experience with it. Transducer crapped out. I bought it brand new. I've been running the Helix 7 for the last 4 years. I like it. Good. I really, 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 really would like to step up and get into the Humminbird Live or Mega Live and see how that goes. I think I would really, really like to try that, but I know Garmin has been around for a while. Fletch has got one, and I will say that once you fish with a live scope, it's really hard to go back. We were fishing on the Canadian side, but over north of Harris Hill Resort last year or early this summer, and had that live scope down. Or prior to putting the live scope down, we're jigging, not catching fish. And once we put the live scope down, started jigging, and it really helps you out because we would have left that area not knowing there was fish there and would not have caught them probably without the live scope. But once we put the live scope down, catching increased and got much, much. Just watching those fish interact with that bait and learning what it took to make those fish bite was really, really cool. Do you have a preference on Markham, Humminbird, Vexilar, or Garmin?
So I've been a Vexilar guy my whole life. Okay.
I was just bad mouthing him. I'm glad you were in the other room.
Well, I said I've been a Vexilar guy my whole life. I haven't finished my statement yet, Cody. Until I put Live Scope on my Alumnicraft, and it's a game changer.
It is.
Definitely is a game changer.
It is.
You know, Markham, I've owned them. Probably just as good as a Vexilar. Flasher's a flasher.
Yep.
But when you start going to the Live Optics and even the Lowrance, I think it's called Live Target, right?
Yep.
It's just a whole different game, different spectrum. Like I know for a fact, like I have the Live Scope on my Alumnicraft. It'll be with me this winter too. Now I know like my brother-in-law runs the Live Target, loves it, but now I get in his boat and fish with him. My personal opinion is you can have your Live Target. I'll take my Live Scope.
I've heard it's
any day.
I've heard in the live imaging, it's Garmin, Humminbird, and then Lowrance is what I've heard.
Yes.
So, leaning toward Garmin next time. What are you running for graphs on your charters?
So we run a little bit of everything, but on my charter boat that I run all the time, I run Simrad, and I absolutely love it.
What is Simrad?
Simrad, they run a lot of it offshore. You know, I think it's a subsidiary or it's made by or same people as Lowrance. But it's so much to me. I've had Lowrance. I've ran Lowrance. I grew up when I was growing up and coming into fishing, we're not that far off. Back when you started fishing, Humminbird wasn't anything. Mm-hmm. Humminbirds evolved so much over the last 10 years, and they're good. Yeah. I have Humminbird in one of our charter boats, and I use it. I like it. John prefers Lowrance. That's what I have in his charter boat. I have Simrad in mine just because of simplicity of it. Anybody can get in my boat, and you can run your graph, and you can do anything. I have down imaging. I have side imaging on it, and you have to run it to see it. But if anybody's ever thinking about it, like I'm not promoting anything to the side or other, but it's the simplicity of it is amazing.
Okay. And you can promote whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me because ain't nobody paying me. So, Garmin is still the king of live imaging, no doubt. Live imaging has increased my ability to catch rate by at least 5 times.
Agree.
Yep. I would say that is true.
Yes.
The only thing that I thought live imaging would be better at is when you're moving in the boat. I thought it would help find fish
and
better,
currents and rivers. I struggled with it like this year in the rainy with the current. Thought I could do more with it than I did. So yeah, in the river I was not like super impressed. Still worked. Mm-hmm. You can still find your fish.
Everything has its
limitations. But you can't find your fish and your lure at the same time sometimes with the currents.
Right. Yep.
You know, but you go out, take it out, jig structure, you just Yep. Oh, there's one over there. Bump, bump, bump.
Yep. It's fun. I honestly, I like catching fish, don't get me wrong, but it's really cool to see the fish interact with the bait and what movement causes. And
when you can literally tell what kind of fish it is when it comes by. Oh, that's a walleye. Oh, that's a northern. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Really cool is to see sturgeon come through.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I have
not musky fished with it yet. Personally, myself, I've musky fished with live scope guided, but I've never tried it myself with my own. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Net Buddy is a big musky fisherman for sure. Will the DNR or legislature, I guess it would have to go through legislature, will they ever ban live imaging?
Well, no, didn't they start to do it with some tournaments already?
I think they were talking about it.
I know they were talking about it. I don't know if they've done it.
I think I did a poll on that, and the overall consensus was, I can't remember if it was people would have approved banning it for tournaments, but not for regular fishing. I think was the overwhelming. I think, but
you know, if they banned it, I'd still go fishing tomorrow.
Oh yeah, me too. I don't even have it, so
it's a pretty awesome deal. It really is, and it's a lot of technology. But where does the technology end? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. You know what I said when I bought my first FL8? I'm like, oh
wow, yeah, oh yeah.
How could you ever get any better than this? And
Yep.
it didn't even have Zoom on it yet, you know. And I mean, well, like the old green box up there, you know, I've caught fish with that, you know.
What? And here's a question that you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Just say no, I'm not answering that. But I was reading something the other day, and talking about the number of tournaments on lakes, fishing pressure. Would you say there's too many tournaments on Lake of the Woods, or don't think it matters? And you don't have to answer that question if you don't want to. So if you want to plead the fifth, you're fine. But I just thought I read that and it just came to mind, and I thought, well, I'll see what you think about it.
I'll plead the fifth.
Okay. So I would say for me, the only thing that concerns me is I know like you get into later summer and those fish go deep. So I'll ask you this way.
Okay.
Do you have a depth limit that you'll fish walleyes in on this lake?
I do not. But that being said, and everybody that's fished with me on a charter boat, and John knows that when we go get our walleyes and we're done, when it's 105 degrees in July, we're going to maybe go troll the top of a reef for a northern or the bay or something else. I don't really enjoy sitting around, and I know it's everybody's prerogative and right. But I try to, you're not just out there taking people fishing, you're trying to educate people about, it ain't just sportsmanship, it's about ethics a little bit too. That being said, I don't downrig anymore. Haven't downrigged for 3 years. Not the point that I hate them. It's just John and I decided that one year that we weren't going to put them on our boats and see if we could do it. And we did it, and we still caught fish. To me, it's a crutch. You know, if it's there, you'll use it.
Right.
When I did do that, when I did pull a lot of plugs, I used to pull a lot of plugs, used to pull a lot of lead core. When I guided and I did a lot of that, you know, we got our fish and we got out of there. And just because the mortality rate, it increases huge. And I know it does in the summertime too.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I would agree. Live imaging has increased my ability to choose my lead. If they've ever banned it, I'm going to buy 10 of them so I have it the rest of my life.
You won't need 10, they'll last.
Ferrano, have you ever heard of that one? I've not heard of that one.
Nope.
Lowrance is apparently releasing their new version this week. Will be interesting to see what it looks like. Yeah, because I've heard that Lowrance right now in the live imaging is the poorest of all of them, is what I've heard. But you know, everyone has their Garmin being worth millions and millions of dollars more than Humminbird makes a difference in upgrading a new technology, also producing a lower price faster. And I would agree. The more money a company has to experiment and try things, for sure. Anybody still using the Panoptix, just the regular Panoptix? And this was what I was thinking about when we were talking about live scope too. My friend's, one of his buddies
Panoptix are good.
State record muskie using live scope. They said they would never caught it without, because they won't cast to a fish unless they see it on live scope.
Yep.
Wondering what the angle is for the Mega Live distance between anglers. I have no idea. I don't have. I think
that all depends on your depths.
Yeah, I would
and
say.
your angle of your cone.
Yep.
So that's a hard one to answer there.
Have you noticed in deeper water? Have you fished with the can't even think, live scope in deeper water, like 40 feet up? Have you noticed any?
No, I have not fished it in probably over 30 feet, maybe 32 feet. I know the deeper you get, the more you struggle a little bit. You can see your lures a little better with the cone angles, and I can't remember exactly what juicer I have on mine. I mean, I
like the MLF catch. Weight, weigh, pick, and release.
Not disagreeing with you.
Yep. I had another thing I was thinking of here, and it kind of slipped away from me, but new to ice fishing, do you have to pay to access most lakes in northern Minnesota? So a lot of lakes don't have access. The smaller ones, it's kind of, unless there's a resort on them. But
yeah, so if there's a public access somewhere, generally it's a public access. My advice to you, new to ice fishing, is spend the $15 and go out on a plowed road, a plowed access. You know that it's been checked, staked.
Yep.
We're not, granted, I'll always say this as a retainer, no ice is ever perfectly safe ice. But at least if you're paying doesn't matter if it's me or if it's the next guy down the road, if you're paying for your access fee, you know that we've checked the ice, we've staked the road. You're a lot safer than just venturing out on your own off of public access. Just to save that $15,
yep,
it ain't worth it.
You get stuck, you get blown in.
You get stuck, you give us a phone call. One of my guys are going to come and help you if you went out through us, you know.
Yep.
We'll come and help you anyways, don't get me wrong.
But it'll cost you.
I don't know. I'm a nice guy.
So Fletch says, sonar for ice fishing, just for fishing deep. Trout fishing 100 feet live scope is nearly worthless.
I agree. We were fishing lake trout last summer up on Sioux Narrows, and once we got past that 90 to 95 foot range, it got real tough. Now I've heard that they have a different deucer that you can buy that'll help that. I don't think it was the one we had, and I don't know that much about it.
Mm-hmm. So good night, Living Man. Appreciate you coming in here, being in here the whole time, and appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Can you think we got still got 70 people in here?
This has been great. Yeah. You didn't think it was going to be that great. It was Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football. I thought maybe we'd have
let's just keep going.
15, 20 people in here. If you have any questions, put them up there in the chat. We'll get to them. I know I was a little slow there for a little bit. What other steamy hotbed topics can we talk about on Lake of the Woods to get ourselves in trouble? Can you think of anything? I think
keep it clean.
Yeah. Do you notice, for the most part, less trash than before? Or
yes, I think everybody has grown up a little bit. The Keep It Clean campaign, I think, has helped. I know, like, with the customers that I service, and I don't take unlimited numbers of wheelhouses. You know that I take reservation only, just with a few. And it ain't like I take 10 or 15 a weekend. I take it what the weather will let me take each weekend. I highly promote and want those people to come back to me and use my dumpsters. Yeah, just to keep it clean. You know, I've seen it better. I know, like, when I first started coming out here and working, yeah, I'd pick up a garbage bag full of beer cans every weekend on the ice. So it's gotten better.
Yep.
But is it perfect? No.
No, and it never will be.
Will it ever be perfect? No.
Yep.
You know?
There's a question right there. Is there a way to know when the ice is safe to drive on so that a person knows when to head north to go ice fishing? No snowmobile. Call
your local outfitter. Check out our Facebook page. Cody, every week we'll have updates from now until we go.
Yep.
Yeah, or give us a call. You know, I'm sure Cody will post my stuff, my links, whatever. Mm-hmm. But every Thursday, he'll have it out there pretty much. Yep. You know,
throughout the whole year
Yep.
till we get.
And I
Great.
and I start. I mean, if, check us out, like us, Facebook. I mean, once we get a little closer, I start talking every day, honestly, on Facebook about conditions.
Yep. And I think, like for me, getting into ice fishing, it used to be you come up here, just go on a road, you didn't really have to worry about it. But now, like, I'm very cautious. Like, you can kind of, there's gauges that the DNR puts out, or charts, whatever. What is it? Is it 10 to 12 or 12 to 14 for pickup?
We're $15 per day per vehicle. We don't charge.
No, but the ice safety.
Remember,
there's like 6 to 8 for a snowmobile, and was it?
Well, I don't even like to talk about that. You know that,
right? But I mean, the general consensus, wasn't it a foot for?
Yeah. See, I always err on the side of caution. Then I always get the naysayers that say you can go on more than that. And when I'm driving with a half-ton truck, I like to say small SUVs. When I'm driving, we'll go back. When I got my Geo trackers out there, I say four-wheelers, just because I know it's okay for you. And that's why we always say stay to your stake trail, because we know where we check, we're safe.
Right.
Not to say it's safe 500 yards away from our trail
because of currents and everything.
Everything else.
Yep.
Ice conditions change within a few feet.
Yep. So you just kind of got to learn it as you get into it, and
don't be afraid to ask questions.
Right. Yep.
Like this guy said, he's like, well, how do I know?
Yep.
Well, call. Give us a call.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm sure Cody will post our number, and you can call us or listen to his report.
So on Red, the affiliation that I have on Red is West Wind Resort. So that's what I would say. I don't have any experience. I don't know if the other places must rent them. But that's where I would recommend you to go on Red. Is check out West Wind Resort. Don't do Facebook. Okay. If you're on YouTube, every Thursday do a fishing report for Lake of the Woods, Upper Red Lake, Devil's Lake in the wintertime. And so the ice conditions and everything will kind of be on there. And that's one place you can check. If you have obviously you have the internet. If you're on YouTube, you can, I think, isn't the Lake of the Woods Tourism Board put out a report every week too?
They do, or you can just give us a call, 218-634-2336.
Yep. You can call the resort.
The girls will know.
Yep.
I mean, you don't have to talk to me, and you don't have to talk to John. We talk to the gals in the office every day, and they will tell you exactly what we will tell you.
Don't be the first wheel marks in the snow.
Exactly.
I build rods and wonder what you like to fish with. How long and how stiff would you recommend?
Love to check one out. I like a 16-inch medium fast rod for walleyes. I don't like them too long because I generally fish in a hard house where I don't have a lot of room in front of me.
Yep.
My personal opinion.
Summertime,
I prefer, for jigging, I like a 6-foot medium fast. For pulling a spinner, I like a 6.6 or a 7-foot medium heavy fast.
Okay. Now, typically, bottom bouncers, what would you say the average weight you pull is? To
pull a bottom bouncer, I like to say I don't pull a lot of bottom bouncers. I like to always, and I know we've talked about this before, and we've said it on your reports. I usually start out with nothing less than a half an ounce. Okay. And then I like to go from there. I'll jump really quick to an ounce. And then I like to go like a good guide to go by where I like is because you don't have to worry about fishing too heavy out here. Mm-hmm. So after an ounce, 1 ounce of weight per foot of wave is what I like. And I know you and I have had this conversation before, and I'll go all the way to 3 ounces, and I won't even worry about it, and you'll catch fish.
Yep. I started pulling spinners this year. I said I never would, and I know Fletcham Outdoors is laughing right now because we went around many, many times about this. I refuse to pull spinners, and
I hate pulling. Oh, I don't say I hate pulling spinners. I would much give me a jig and a minnow, or a jig and a leech,
Yep.
or even a jig and a night crawler.
Yep.
I'll take. So when I throw down 1 ounce of spinnerbait, honestly, I'll have myself personally out my window. I'll throw a 3/4 ounce lead head down
and just drag
and
it.
just drag
Yep.
it,
Yep.
and it'll catch fish.
I will have to say that I'm going to publicly say this. I kind of did start to enjoy pulling spinners once I really figured it out. They are ultra effective. Can be ultra effective.
Russ, give me a call. I'd love to try your rods.
So for wintertime, I haven't found the perfect ice rod yet. I do like a little bit longer one, probably about a 30 or 32 is what I would like in a medium.
We're not
Probably
promoting.
extra fast. No.
So like the 13 Widowmakers are nice. I like them. But I like a short. See, me personally, I like a shorter rod.
Okay. But I'm fishing in a portable most of the time,
Yeah.
so I got
So you got a little more
lot.
room to work
Yep.
with.
And I
You know.
do like St. Croix rods.
Yep, they're good. Nothing wrong with St. Croix. Fluger.
Best reel ever.
Yep, and Fluger makes good rods. Fenwick makes a really bad ice fishing rod too. And I'm honestly, I'm a Fenwick guy. I'm not gonna lie.
I do have a Fenwick ice rod, and I do actually like that one.
I run all my charter boats run Fenwick rods, and I love them. They're good rods.
Have you?
And they back their rods. That's a big thing. I used to run other brands. I won't name them, but they didn't stand behind them quite as good. Fenwick stands behind their equipment very well. Their warranty is good.
Okay. Elliott rods. You ever used any of them?
Never tried them.
Yeah, I haven't either. In the summertime, depends what I'm fishing with, but I've really grown to like the 610 Mojo Bass in
That's St. Croix.
medium light, extra fast. Not so much jigging. I like the Icon, walleye Icons in a 6. I think I have 6/8. I think those have been really good. It just depends on what you're using for bait. If you're drop shotting, if you're jigging, I think. But I like a medium fast.
Everyone, that's what customers fish with when they get on my charter boat.
Okay, an HMX. Okay. That's got some fish scales on there, so I'd say it's seen some
Caught a
fish.
fish.
Huh? That's a Fluger? No,
That's an Okuma, actually. And there's nothing wrong with Okuma reels. Actually, I like Okuma reels. Fluger, Okuma, good reels.
Carmen does have a new one called XR. It's made up to go to 500 feet. Doesn't work great in under 100. I wonder how much that costs.
It really doesn't do us any good if it doesn't work that great under 100 feet.
Right. Yep. But he was just saying for the over.
Oh, okay.
Here's a question from Ryan Mortensen. What's your predictions on ice being ready for four-wheelers and portables? Just what we're looking at right now.
I would say what we're looking at right now, if I had to be a guessing man, and this was just a guess, the temps we're looking at and everything else, I think there's going to be some four-wheeler traffic, possibly. I'm not good with dates. That's why I get on my calendar. Next weekend, maybe.
Wednesday is going to play a big role.
Yeah, Wednesday is going to be huge because we're talking a little bit of wind.
If anybody here's a moderator, if you can, we got a bot in here. I didn't see it. I don't know if I have any moderators even in here. All bots are like spam that come up and try to ruin your live stream. I typically don't have enough people in a live stream to do it. To have that.
I am guessing, honestly, that 16th, 17th week, or no, that 9th, 10th weekend, very, very likely we'll have some four-wheeler traffic going.
Yep.
You know, believe me, you and I are going to be talking.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You're going to be hitting it.
Yep.
Even if it might not be Thursday. I might have to say, Cody, we're going to hit it on Tuesday.
Right.
We're going to make a report.
Yep.
But if you got Facebook, like us, follow us. If you'll hear it from me, maybe 30 seconds before you hear it from him, or vice versa.
Yep. So it's going to go fast. I think once it goes, it's going to hopefully it'll go fast.
It is, but I don't like to ever tell somebody a date. That's
right.
The thing, you know?
Right. Because there's just so much that can change. Huh, we got some strange beeping noise. Don't know what it is. Here's a good question. I prefer to fish walleyes in depths that have less barrel trauma to release small fish. What would your depth, and could that be fished all season? For me, I don't like to fish walleye. I don't like to fish walleyes in over 30 feet, but definitely not 32. That's just my opinion. I think, I don't know if the summer or winter makes much of a difference, but I've just noticed that you get over 30 feet, 32 feet, and it does seem to be kind of tough on them. But we got some sort of alarm. I can't really tell exactly where it's coming from. I found it. Barrel trauma. We did a video with the DNR, the fisheries supervisor up here, and we talked a lot about barrel trauma. It's a very, very interesting subject. And I know me personally, like for crappies, if I'm going to fish crappies to release them, I'm probably not going to be in over 23, 24 feet. That's just my experience is pretty tough.
I think barrel trauma is actually, it's a huge subject, and it's a good one. Because there's so many disagreements about it.
Right.
If we're going to have any regulations, everybody was talking prior to this about regulation changes and everything else. Once you have your 4 walleyes, probably wouldn't be a dumb idea to go target another fish.
Right. Or fish real shallow.
Exactly.
Yep.
That, it's something that should be looked at. I personally think.
Yep. Okay. I think I know Mike Peluso from out on Fishes Kakawea and Devil's Lake. He talked about a friend of his scuba dived. He's scuba dived. He's a guide out there, and he said you wouldn't believe a lot of guys are fishing like in 35 plus feet of water for walleyes. He said you wouldn't believe all the dead fish they saw on the bottom of the lake on Skakawea.
I believe
so.
It.
I think it's very, very. You see, I'm gonna say it, but you see these fishing shows on YouTube or TV or whatever in the winter, and the guys say, "Oh yeah, that fish released so nice," and you can see their depth finder saying 28, 32 feet. And most of the time when I'm fishing those depths, I'm keeping those crappies. And then when I'm done, when I've got my limit, I'm done. But if you try to release one, they may swim away, but I don't think they're going down to the bottom.
Here's the deal. When I'm fishing walleyes and I'm fishing 30 plus feet of water and I set that hook, if you fished at all, this is one I want to keep.
Right.
Or, generally, if you slack it off, fish will get off its line.
Yeah, right. Yep.
You can tell.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not.
Do you think, just in your experience, do you think that barrel trauma affects smaller fish more or bigger fish more?
Well, obviously, I think it affects smaller fish more because they get released more. Mm-hmm. Bigger fish get kept. So how do you really?
But what I'm saying? I'm talking about. Do you think there's a difference in the physiology of the fish, of a big fish versus a small one? Do you think?
Biologist, I don't know.
Right. I was just curious.
I don't know
what you thought of, just by experience.
I don't know.
I know it affects. It affects the big fish too.
It's got it.
But it's a sticky subject. But hey, you know what? If you want to call me out and think I'm a dumbass or whatever, that's just my experience of what I've seen. Do you ever have much luck doing slip bobbering up on the reefs in the summer?
Absolutely.
That is something.
Love it.
Yep, that's something. That's something. Last summer? I think I did a video on that. Dang, that was fun.
The only problem with Lake of the Woods is is slip bobbering is kind of a calm deal.
Mhm.
So our calm days can be
Yep.
few and far between
Yep.
some days,
Yep.
you know, but love it. I'll do it out in the middle of the mud.
Yep. Oh, I've never done that.
Oh
but,
yeah,
it's
it's good.
it's really fun to watch
Deadly.
a bobber. You know,
Yes.
be sitting there and talking to someone and look back and your bobber's gone. You know, and just feeling that and that. Yeah, slip bobbers are very, very, very effective. 39. That's a little bit long for me, unless I was doing Lakers or something. I've just found if I was outside, maybe not so bad, but I really hate hitting the end of that rod on the side of the portable and losing that fish. It happens quite often. What is your guys' top bucket list fish to catch? What's your favorite fish to catch through in the summer?
Every day, all day. If I'm not guiding, I love smallies.
Yep. Smallmouth are fun.
I really do.
Yep.
They're a lot of fun.
Yep.
And when you get into them, it's one right after another. You know, and they fight pound for pound. They fight.
Mm-hmm. I'd say year round for me, crappies. I love targeting, catching crappies. I don't really like to eat them so much.
Oh, really? You can bring me everyone.
I don't think they're as good as.
Oh God, no.
I don't think they're as good as walleyes or perch.
Disagree.
You can't beat anything. You can't.
No.
You can't beat perch.
You bring me a
water.
crappie. You can bring me every crappie and every bluegill you get, and I'll eat it.
Now bluegill's different, but I just the crappies up north there. I mean they're good, but I don't think they're as good as walleyes. That's just my opinion. Built a lot of 24-inch ice rods in a number of different strengths, but I built ice rods to 42 to 48 for lake trout. I will give you a call. So
good.
Russ Philstrom, you might want to write that down, or you can just, I guess, say on the live stream.
Say you've seen us. Leave me your number. If I'm not here, I'll be back to you.
And if you're interested, Russ, you can send me an email. If you go to the description, won't be in the description of this video, but if you go to the homepage on my YouTube channel, I have an email there. I'd love to hear from you.
Or you can email me at lakeroadlodge@mncable.net.
I will put that in the Lake Road Lodge
at
mncable.net. I bought a Piscifun Carbon X spinning reel 1000 for ice fishing. I have not used one, but I have heard a lot about Piscifuns. I know Tom Boley, I think, promotes them. A lot of guys are starting to promote them, and I've heard
a lot of good. I heard a lot of good about them.
Yep.
I just can't get behind the name.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
If you say it wrong, yeah, it does sound bad.
You know.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, I like Pfluger. I like Shimano. I venture back to Pfluger a lot.
I don't like Shimano.
I don't mind Shimano. I like Okuma. They're good.
I bought Pflugers, and that's all I've ever used.
I like Pfluger. Seems like I always go back to Pflugers.
Hans Stordahl says Elliott ice rods are the bomb.
Hey Hans, how you doing? It's been a few years.
I've been gonna try an Elliott and a tune-up custom rod. I've been gonna try that, but I just haven't. Steelers, Colts, halftime. Awesome. I for you guys that have been watching us for part of the time or most of the time, I really appreciate it instead of watching football. That is pretty cool. It's the numbers been between 65 and 90 people in here. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's really good. What is needed to cross the Minnesota-Canadian border in the northwest angle on snowmobile? Do you utilize CBP Rome? I do. It is also worth getting the RABC, which is the Remote Area Border Crossing Permit. For $22, you can go to just type in RABC permit on a Google search. It'll come up, and you go and you can you got to fill out a little form, photocopy your license, your driver's license, or your passport, or whatever you have. Send it in, and with about 5 days, if you get approved, you'll have it, and you never have to call into Canada. That is when you're leaving the angle by vehicle. unless you have something you have to declare.
And that's you, not every friend you're taking
Correct,
with.
correct. Each person has to have one, but the REBC is the only way to go. It's great. So that is. Otherwise, you have to call in on snowmobile, and if there's 5 guys, depending who the border agent you get, they will make you call in 5 times. And the longest I think I've waited at the payphone with the short cord to the phone that you can't sit down and write on the table because they had to put the phone outside the customs booth, which is stupid in my opinion, is an hour. And that's in the summertime, the flies are biting or it's raining. In the wintertime, it's just cold. It sucks. REBC is the only way to go. What's the maximum useful depth for Mega 360? I have no experience with the 360 imaging. You don't have that?
No, never. What is that?
The 360 is that bigger head that goes down and it shoots a swath around the boat and it just kind of keeps regenerating. I've not.
I don't know.
I've never.
That one I don't know.
I looked at getting that a few years ago and I just didn't. I just didn't get it. Did I go all the way down to the beginning? Here we are. Okay, here we are. Yes. Yep. And CBP Roam is checking back into the US. That app's pretty good. I've had a little trouble with it a couple times, but for the most part, it's pretty good. Bigger fish come up slower. Small fish come up 10 to 15 feet on the hooks at open water. I asked the did you say Phil Talmadge is not there anymore?
No, he's not. Brett is the guy's name. I'm not even going to tell you the last name. I can figure it out for you. I want to say Brett Nelson, but I don't know.
Okay.
Phil left last summer. It's Brett is his name now there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. When we were talking, he just said it because I asked him, I used to think, well, if I bring the fish up slower, maybe I'll have, but they just cannot burp that air no matter how fast or slow they come up is what he said. So I was just in regards to that question. Crappie is the best eating fish. I would disagree. I would say perch out of cold water. I love yellow perch out of cold water. And laugh.
I don't know, Fletchum. I'm a little bit torn on that one.
Pike is good too out of cold water.
Shit, you can't beat pike.
I do like pike.
Honestly.
Yep. It's just the bones that suck.
Pickle
and my cousin says that smallmouth are delicious. He
I don't know. I've never eaten one.
I looked at him funny.
I haven't even eaten one. Never.
I looked at him funny when he wanted to keep some, but last year we did catch a smallmouth and it was in the slot. And I can't remember what happened to it. If it got hit by a muskie or what but we ended up eating it. And honestly, I couldn't tell the difference between smallmouth and walleye. I couldn't tell.
Really?
No, couldn't tell the difference.
Never cleaned one, never eaten one.
Yep. Cleaning them, and I haven't few crappie. Yeah, I don't know. I just I don't know what the difference is. How deep am I spearing now? Today I was out in about 4 feet of water, and the next one.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I
was out in 4 feet of water today, just off of the break line into the contour of the Rainy there. Has anyone kept and ate a lake sturgeon? I tried white sturgeon this last week, and it was the best freshwater fish I've ate.
Lake sturgeon is awesome.
Never had it. I would like to try it. You cut them like steaks, kind of?
I steak them and smoke them because I love smoked fish. I know it's an acquired taste, but steak them, smoke them, they're really good.
Pretty good, huh?
Yes, they're very good.
Never tried it. I never caught one to keep. I guess
Of course, I've smoked paddlefish, and nobody says they're any good. There's nothing wrong with that either.
Huh? We heard. Hello, Francis. How's it going? Oh boy, I'm behind here a little bit. Is the difference between an expensive and cheap rod really that big for someone who only fishes 5 weekends or so per year?
Yep.
I would agree. I would say,
you don't have to have the most expensive rod in the market. You just have to have a good quality rod.
Yep. Because I would say you take a St. Croix Triumph versus a ugly stick,
Yes.
There's a huge difference.
100% agree.
I think you'll catch more fish because
But now
you can feel it.
But you take that ugly stick and spool it up with braid with a mono leader on it, and it will help you.
Mm-hmm.
But you take that St. Croix Triumph and spool it with braid with a mono leader,
Yep.
and then you really got something.
Yep. And then you step up.
Your braid line is going to upgrade your rod. Any rod you have is going to upgrade your rod.
Yep. I would agree because you're way more sensitivity.
Yes.
Just don't set the hook as hard because typically the cheaper rods don't have as good of action.
And that's why you run your mono leader.
Yep. So you have some stretch, right?
Yes.
Right. Yep. I would recommend. I hate mono. I've hated mono filament line for the last few years. I've really started to like fluoro, but mono just the memory part. But on a leader would be different because it'd be shorter. But fully outfitting a rod with mono, the memory drives me bonkers.
The only thing I use mono on is I honestly have a couple sturgeon rods spooled up in mono.
Yeah. But the reel is more important. Spend the money on that before the rod. What do you think?
Disagree.
Yeah, I would say
you can buy a medium priced reel and still be fine. Your feel is in your rod as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Your drag is important, but
yes.
I would say I'm just thinking the situation over in my head. I think the rod is more important than the reel. I think so. Yep. Just my opinion.
I think so. My personal opinion.
I watched a video the other day of someone using a needle to deflate a fish called fizzing.
I wouldn't suggest it. A lot of tournament anglers do it. They say it works. It leads to a lot of infection. I don't know if it helps the fish. I'm not a biologist, so I would not promote it.
Yep. The biologist that I interviewed, he said that he does not recommend fizzing them either, and I wouldn't do it either. Shimano went cheap. Like I bought a Shimano reel in 2013, caught a 35-inch northern pike on it, and it bent my the guard. I don't know. I can't even think what it's called. The guard that goes around.
Caught a 35-inch northern on a Shimano reel, and that's where your hatred towards Shimano came.
Because it bent it, and because
that's a big fish though.
Not really. 35-inch pike isn't that big.
How big was the reel?
It was I don't even remember. I think it was a Stratic.
Well, it was a Stratic. It was a good reel.
I paid. Maybe it wasn't a Stratic, but I just the same price Fluger.
For the price point, you don't even need the most expensive Fluger on the market. Now we're promoting Fluger again, but you get a Fluger President reel.
Yep.
That's all you need.
Yep. I do like the Supremes.
Well, they're good, but for a price point to get into it, a Fluger President reel, nothing wrong with them.
Ice fishing better than football every
day.
Damn day,
every minute.
Yep.
Hockey, I love hockey,
but hockey's going a little woke now. They're
I love hockey.
They are promoting transgenders into hockey. So
yeah,
we better not get on that tangent because
you know what? I've been sitting here all night watching rainbows on your keyboard.
Oh yeah. My keyboard is kind of goofy, but I'm not smart enough to know how to fix it. But believe me, I'm not going to the other side. Believe me. Just logged on. I see they're pulling 100. I think everybody's off, but not sure. Hopefully everybody's
off.
Last
we heard, everybody was off.
Ice broke away. Favorite fishing line?
Anything braided. Honestly, I don't have a preference in my braids. Mono. What I leader up my braid after my braid with, and I know me and Cody disagree with this, but you give me good old Trilene 8-pound XL all day, every day long, and it's just good line. It's proven. But as far as braid, I don't have a big preference.
Every one of my reels is spooled up with Power Pro 10-pound high vis. and then with a 12-pound P-line, I don't know if it's Pline or P-line, Japanese tactical 12-pound fluoro leaders.
So the only
Some
I
good
see if
stuff.
there's one that I don't like, Fireline
Yeah,
is a little waxy and a little slippery.
never use those.
But if there's one that I would say I don't like, it'd be Fireline. But Power Pro, I use a lot of that.
Yep. I really like Power Pro. It's been good.
Yep.
Pike boiled and 7-Up. I've not tried that, but I'm going to.
I've
try
done it,
this
been
year.
there. So is Eel Pout. Good.
I'm going to try that this year for sure.
Yep.
I like bat barrels in fish is like in humans. It's not the action. Yeah, it's something about the bends, is what he always said. It was something about the bends.
Yep.
Very loaded question. And also, in my opinion, fishing lines is situational. Fishing different, like if I'm fishing different baits would dictate for different
I agree.
lines as well.
So like when I used to pull a lot of cranks, like when I downrigged a lot, I strictly downrigged with mono because I wanted that stretch.
Yep.
Because when the fish hit that lure, I had that stretch in the line on the rod.
Right.
But I don't do it that much anymore. And like when I used to do a lot of like lead core, that's a whole different game. But I used to run like 15 to 20 feet of mono leader behind my lead, so you have that stretch.
What's a typical leader that you'll use now lengthwise?
I'll use usually 3 feet. I usually spool it off I'm 6 foot tall. I spool it off one length of one arm, 3 feet. And by the time I get done retying and I'm down to about 1.5 feet, 2 feet, I take it off, replace it.
I like to use, if I'm jigging the rocks a lot, I'll go 6, 8, even 10 feet leaders, just because break offs and stuff, you're not retying that surgeon's not so much.
Yeah.
I would take a high quality rod and a cheaper reel any day. I think, yeah, for the most part.
I agree.
I wouldn't stoop so low to get a reel that I know that I'm probably gonna have problems with, but you can get a Pfluger President for $60-$70. You can even find them a little bit cheaper on eBay at times. And I think I do like to have a good fishing rod, a good, like you can get a St. Croix Triumph, which is, I just personally like St. Croix rods. I'm not paid by them or nothing. I just really like them. And the Triumph is the bottom of the line. It's like used to be $100. Now they're probably 120, but you can really do some damage with them. Good feeling. I really like them. In the cheapest Pfluger reel, which would be, I think, the President probably. You're going to spend $200, but you got a rod for life. And I think I would spend more money on the rod than I would the reel, but I would want a decent quality reel. That's just my opinion. White sturgeon was cut into steak, light batter for flavor, and pan fried. It was delicious. And if lake sturgeon is like that, I take that in the freezer over walleye any day. Yeah, I've never tried sturgeon, but I would really like to. What is the difference? I wonder where is white sturgeon? Where's that native to? Where did you catch those at? But nice fishing. I like to see what people say, so like yeah, and that's is getting opinions and it's too bad a guy can't go to like a sporting goods store and try one out. You know what I'm saying, and like see what you think. But I just bought a couple when I first started getting into fishing. I bought a couple St. Croix Triumphs. Really liked them, and now I've got like 20 St. Croix, but I just really like them. I just get to be brand loyal after a while.
Yep. No.
Good drag system over an expensive rod, but that's me. Well, the drag, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't skimp so low.
And I don't think, we pushed Pfluger tonight, and I don't think, to me,
I just have had good luck with them. That's
you take Okay, so you go Fluger. You go a low budget Fluger is like that Fluger Tryon,
Mm-hmm.
and I ran them.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with them
Yep.
at all.
Yep.
And as far as an ice fishing rod and reel, would use one.
Yep.
Summer, I'm using it a lot more every day. I'm going to go to a President, but we're pushing Fluger right now.
But that's just to be experienced. Just like, for me, I know you're a Ford guy. I'm
the only way to go.
I'm a GM guy. I just have had good
I'm
luck.
sorry.
I'm
sorry.
They've never left me on the side of the road.
They will.
I'll come get you. It's been a long time.
I'll come get you with my Ford.
But you'll have to make sure there's a lot of gas stations in between there. But I have a Ford car that's sitting out there.
Would you drive here tonight?
Yeah, I drove a Ford car.
There you go.
I found it cheap.
You'd be damn happy for me to come and get you with my Ford when your Chevy breaks down.
Cole Polymer. I bought some Cole Polymer line tonight that I'm going to try out.
I've never used it. Let me know how it goes.
I have no experience with it, but I thought I'm going to spool up one and I'm going to try it out. So
what do they say? What are the benefits of it? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what. Never had an issue with the lack of sensitivity with my rods, but I lost fish due to poor drags. Yeah, I would say. But the hook set, I think, is the important part, and I think you're
agreed.
I think your rod plays more of a part into the hook set than the reel probably does.
Yes,
I think both play a part in it, but I think the rod maybe plays a little bit more of a part in the hook set.
I was just reading the next one. I got ahead of you. I've got 13 reels, and I've got a few on ice rods, and they're good reels.
I've not used 13 fishing equipment before.
They're okay. No, 13's okay.
Fluger all the way for the money. Yep. And Fluger, I don't know if they quit making them, but they made a Purist for a while, and I bought a bunch of those, like 5-6 of those, and I really like those, but I can't find them anymore.
Heard of it?
I do like the Supremes.
Yes.
I've got a bunch of those.
Yes.
Too. I've got a couple Supreme XTs, and those are really nice, but they're really expensive. And if you got the money, a Patriarch, I'd like to try one, but I just don't want to pay.
I got one.
$300 for a Patriarch. What's your opinion of it? Is it worth the money?
It's nice. It's smooth. It's never let me down. Is it worth the money? I don't know. Honestly, probably not.
UND hockey's where it's at. If I could get the game out of the lake, I'd be in heaven.
I love UND hockey. Grew up north of Grand Forks, so I'm a Sioux fan.
I like
not a Gopher fan.
I could really give two cares less about many sports. I follow a little baseball once in a while, but I'd rather be out hunting or fishing than watching sports.
No, I like hockey.
I would rather, if I had to watch, or if I'm going to watch sports, it'd be between baseball and hockey. I totally, when the NFL started their kneeling garbage,
I watched one game because everybody was bragging about the Vikings, so I watched Dallas Vikings game.
Oh,
I'm like, oh,
that was a good one to watch.
Why do I want to watch that? Shut it off again. But whatever.
Yeah. The Unstoppable Rainbow Mouse. I've not heard of that.
Never heard of it.
So I don't know what that is even. Shadow bass. There's a video of boiling. So okay. How was the Shiner run this year compared to last year, in your opinion?
Not as good as last year, Jamie. But okay. I'd say on the 10-year average, I'd say average.
Pam cooking spray on lures. I see guys talking about. There was something about water.
I don't believe spraying anything goofy on my lures. I don't care. Whatever your concoction is.
I've heard WD-40 too.
No. Yeah, that was my dad's thing.
Heading back to red. I might, but once Lake of the Woods gets going, there's just no reason to go to red. But I would like to go there. I would like to go to red and try catch some giant crappies. That would be one thing that would get me to go to red.
20 years ago.
If that was, but they're still there though. They are still there. Mark J, appreciate it. Have a good one. See you in a couple weeks in Fargo. Well, if there's ice, I won't be there.
We'll be there.
A quality rod will give you the sensitivity to do a better job of catching fish. A decent reel certainly helps, but an expensive reel on a lower quality rod won't deliver the same results. I would agree with that.
Agreed.
Yep.
100%.
Yep. Why my family caught it in Columbia River in Washington. Okay. Oh, nice. That's a destination. Did we ever? You never said your bucket list fish, did you? If you could go anywhere fishing in the United States, where would it be and what for?
It's got to be in the United States.
Yep.
I'm thinking she'd probably be Alaska.
Okay.
Halibut, salmon.
I think.
Honestly, I think it would have to be.
I think mine would be actually the Columbia River. I would like to catch one of them big sturgeon. Those different sturgeon.
I know they're bigger in the Columbia River. I don't know. I seriously think I would love reeling in a halibut. Salmon, never done it. I've done Ohio, Erie in the spring.
What was that like?
Fun.
Better than Lake of the Woods?
Yes and no. Size-wise, everything we kept was gorgeous. As far as like numbers-wise, you don't go to Ohio and catch. Well, everybody talks about 100 fish days, and then I'm the devil's advocate there because I actually count. And when you make 100 fish day, you're wore out, right? Where you have a 50 fish day on Lake of the Woods, which is a pretty good day, you probably are sitting at a 25 fish day, 30 fish day on Erie, but your size is nice. It's fun.
I'd say Devil's Lake is a pretty good lake too for walleyes. When we went over there this fall and casting jigs off of a bridge and catching 24-inch walleyes repeatedly, I was really surprised. That was actually really fun, and I will do that again.
And Erie, so we went out there 2 years ago, John and I did, and I don't like to pull plugs. So I asked our guide, pull plugs. He's like, no, we're not going to pull plugs. We get out there, and there ain't a piece of live bait on the boat, and all we do is pull plugs for 3 days, so I wasn't overly impressed in the first place. Ended up with COVID while I was out there. Trip sucked. Long story short, last year I found a different guy, went out there, told him I wanted to jig, and that's what he said we're going to do. We had a blast. We jigged the whole time we were out there. We probably didn't go catch 30-inch fish everybody talks about on Erie, but we had a shit ton of fun catching 20s, 25s all day on jigs.
Huskies all the way. I would think that's a sports team, huh?
Yep.
Is that St. Cloud?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know that name?
Yeah.
Justin Backus.
Backus sounds familiar.
Red Lake sucks. Hate me all you want. Laugh out loud. I'm not really impressed with Red. I know early it's a hugely popular lake for YouTube videos. First ice. Red Lake or Lake of the Woods is too, but yeah, it's. But going back to the bucket list trip, another thing that I did a couple of years ago that I really, really enjoyed, and I would have really, really enjoyed it if I would have caught some of the fish in my boat that everybody else is catching, lake trout on Lake Superior jigging.
Do you want to know one we should do? And I got a couple guys that we should do it, not to get off subject. Have you ever sat and caught giant catfish?
I am not interested in catfish.
Why?
I've got some friends that have really been bugging me to go on the Red River and catch catfish, and I have no desire.
I got a couple. I used to do it all the time growing up. That's what I did. I grew up 6 miles away from it.
Yep.
I think you'd have fun with it.
When I lived in Chattanooga, huge blue cats, and it just didn't interest me. It just didn't. I don't know. I just
might have to take a trip next summer.
It's not for me. It's not specifically about the size of the fish.
You get into sturgeon though. So you get into cats.
I did, but sturgeon is different. I don't know.
Everybody asks me, explain to me what it's like to fish for sturgeon. And the first thing I asked them is, have you ever fished for a catfish? And if they tell me, yeah, I think there you go. You got it.
This is over the big catfish. Yep.
You got it.
I would say it's it is similar, but I think the sturgeon has a aura or there's just something very
nostalgic
or spiritual almost about a sturgeon.
They're a dinosaur.
Like they're huge, like
they're big.
And catfish are just like a trash fish. I mean, I don't want to get thrown out of the lodge here, but I just I don't know. There's no
25 years ago, burbot eel pout was a trash fish. Now everybody wants them too. It's like,
except for me.
Well,
I don't really.
It's a lot of fun to catch them.
I don't really have any love.
You know what? Either. Every fish, everybody says, "What's your favorite fish?" You want to know what I tell them? It's the one that I set the hook on when I set the hook.
Right.
I don't care if it's a crappie, a perch. It could be a tulipy. It's just fun to set the hook.
It is. I like. What's your favorite way to catch fish? Is similar to mine. Jigging. I love the vertical jig.
Yes.
I mean, it's just
100%.
I don't know. It's just great.
There's nothing like having that rod in your hand and going wham.
And I would say a drop shot, probably a second. And I really enjoy pitching jigs and dragging them and just dragging. And all of a sudden you feel just that little bit of weight. Good times. But I'll tell you what, jigging for Lakers, that is out at Isle Royale there. That is fun. You can catch all kinds in the Red River. I've got sturgeon. No kidding.
Yep, they're there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Burbot, smallmouth, walleye. Didn't know smallmouth. I know walleye.
I've caught giant walleyes in the Red River, and I've caught giant walleyes in the Red Lake River. Awesome. Out of East Grand Forks. Giant walleyes.
I didn't know sturgeon were there.
Yes, they are.
I did not know that. And they must not be in great numbers because otherwise a lot of guys would be fishing there, huh?
Ottertail Lake, Ottertail River is pretty big for them, too. Yep.
Huh. I'll be darned. I did not know that. Catfish fight, amazing. Pound for pound, it's like the argument that sunfish fight.
There you go. I agree, Jacob.
Fish. Yep. I just don't, I don't know. Doesn't trip my trigger, but bites are more fun jigging, especially when they try to pull the rod out of your hands. Yes. I would say the drop shot bite's pretty cool too, though. Like, because that weight's on the bottom, so you're just feeling that hook kind of.
Then does your weight go away or what? I don't know. I've never done it.
It does. Yep. And so the point is to drop that weight down, and that hook, that fish doesn't really feel any resistance because they're biting on a hook that's not weighted. And you just feel it, like you want, I won't say like tension, but you want it to stand up, but it's just that slight movement. But that's a pretty cool bite too. And I'll even say pulling spinners is kind of like I actually
pulling spinners is pretty. It's good. It's effective. It's fun. It really is.
The part of it that sucks is that you're always having to be moving.
Yeah, but some of the fun is, I mean, you get into a spinner bite in that 8 foot of water.
Well, that's different.
And it's like mad alligators grabbing that line, man. It's just fun and whack. And it's pretty fun.
Sleep tonight. You guys got me excited to go fishing. Hey, I'm up here at a resort. I'm all excited to go fishing. Appreciate it, Craig. I thank you for hanging in here all the way down there in Georgia. I'm trying to get this guy up here fishing, ice fishing.
Let's do it, Greg.
And get him up here. It'd be great. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Catfish, once they get to the side of the boat, just dog you and stay down and fight like mad. It's a blast, and the bite is awesome. They try to break the rod on the rod holder.
Agreed.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to try it, I guess, but we'll
go.
I don't know.
We'll go do one show. We'll go do an after 5 show on catfish one day.
Standing in the thistles along the Red River with the mosquitoes.
No, we'll go on a boat.
Oh, okay. Well,
it'll be midnight.
That'd be different. Is that typically a night bite? Or?
I like them at night.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I just have never done it. It
can be fun.
Have to try it. But we are getting to. Been running for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I can't believe we still got 50 people in here. That's crazy.
Keep talking then.
I greatly appreciate it. Let's see here if there's any more questions that I missed, because we still got to shoot the fishing report for this week. So,
and it's more of an ice report. We kind of already gave that.
Well, there is some fishing to be done. But,
there is,
right? Will I am. That's my good buddy Willie. Any odd bait hooks that have worked? I've heard a lot. Hot dogs on tip ups. Yes.
Yep. Fun dogs.
Yep. I wouldn't have believed it. Brought my friend up from the cities, and they're like, we want to stop and get some hot dogs. I'm like, oh, okay. You guys bring a grill or something, whatever. And they're like, no, we're using for tip up bait. And I just like,
done it.
Huh.
And if you get skunk, Cody, you got wiener water stew to end up the day with.
One thing that I've been going to check and I've forgotten to is, could a person use Fun Dogs in Canada as bait?
I don't know why you couldn't.
But
I don't know.
It's a meat product.
Yeah,
so I wonder.
But it's not eggs,
right?
And it's not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not bait, but I wonder if they would. I'm gonna check on it. I'm gonna check
on it because I don't think I don't know, but it ain't poultry and it ain't eggs,
right?
So it's separated chicken parts.
Yep.
But you know what I mean.
I just wonder if it would work.
I think it's just a poultry and an egg thing, isn't it?
Well, for bait though, because you can't. I don't know. It's something I want to check on because I do want to do some tip ups up in Canada because I can't spear up there.
You take your Fun Dogs to roast on the grill.
Right. But if you're making a video about it, obviously.
I don't know. That's something to ask, but I don't.
Awesome trash fish 2 blocks from my place. Yeah. When on your river down there in Hutch, right? If you could only buy one rod, what would you buy?
One rod. Now, are we one rod year round or are we one per season?
I'd say per season.
One rod per the season. I would buy me. Now we're going to go to the affordability end of it. I would buy an HMG 6-foot medium fast Fenwick.
If I could use one rod for all things, I would buy a St. Croix 7-foot Premier medium fast. Because you can jig with it, you can cast with it, you could troll with it, you could do pretty much anything with it. It'd be a little on the stiff side, but that's what it would be. Is a St. Croix Premier.
Yeah.
I mean, if money was no object, well, then it'd be a Legend Elite. But
exactly.
Money is an object. So
no, I was thinking budget minded when I said an HMG. I mean, they're not the cheapest rod on the market. Get an HMX for $40 cheaper, but an HMG is a good rod, and they're really good. And yeah.
I've been putting my units to sleep, so it's working out well. How much for minnows and shiners this year?
I think we're at. We sell them by the box if you bought them here before, so I think we're at $12 or $13 a box this year, and it's a good scoop and a half in a box.
How many minnows would that be roughly? Would you guess 40,
36 to 40, okay. Somewhere in there.
Raw chicken guts for, I would assume, for catfish.
Absolutely.
Hongs, appreciate you coming in from Iowa. Thank you very, very much. And we'll probably try to do this again sometime, maybe midwinter, do a midwinter live stream. I don't do a lot of live streams, but they are kind of fun when you have a guest. If you're
we don't get together that much.
Right,
though.
Right.
Can we do it like when we're away from each other?
Yeah. Yep. You just have to have a computer. Yep.
I got one.
Or you can do you could use your phone too.
I'm not that backwards.
Yep. For ice, what would your rod be for ice?
Ice. I would take I'm a Fenwick guy, so we're gonna go back to Fenwick. I would take an HMG or an HMX, and I like them shorter rods. I know everybody's going to say you got to have a 30-inch rod. I would take that 26-inch rod or a 28 at the most in a medium light. I would go with lighter on the ice.
Right. What does the length give you? Why are these guys using these longer rods, do you think, in the winter? What's the benefit? Just more control? You don't get that hop as bad, or
I don't know.
Because I notice when I use a shorter rod, you get that hop. You ever notice that?
I think
that slack line.
I think I got to find the word for it. I think there's an over exaggeration of what somebody actually thinks they need to fight a walleye with, to be rightly honest with you.
Right. Because in the old days, they did it with the picks, stick the pick.
Yeah, we used to do shove it in the snowbank and it's hand over hand, and and then we went to jiggle sticks, and we caught a lot of fish.
Yep.
I don't
know. For ice, I like a 30 or a 32. I've honestly cannot say that I found an ice rod yet that I'm in love with. I bought a hot rod, Aricadia custom rod, 36-inch. Don't really like it. It's a medium light. It's too long. Wish it was just a little bit shorter, probably 4 inches shorter.
36 is long.
I'm really looking for an ice rod that I can really, really like. I actually, for a number of years, had a Dave Gens $40 special. I think they were 28 inches, and that was one of my go-to. I really like those rods, but I wanted them just a hair longer. I fished with those for probably 8 years, and if I could find those two rods again, I'd probably buy 2 more of them, but I haven't been able to find them. 6'3" extra fast. Yeah, the only thing is I would go to a 7-foot, and I'd go to the medium fast, because if I had to have one rod, because it would cover so many more different things. If I'm
a 6'3" extra fast for jigging, if that's all you're going to use it for all day long.
Yep. And if I was jigging, like I said before, I like to jig with the lightest jig I can get away with. So a lot of times it's 3/16 or what's just lighter than a 3/8? Is it 3? Anyway, the weight that's just before 3/8. I have a 6-foot Premier that I like to snipe crappies with them light jigs, and I really like that rod too. But just if you're going to have something that you're going to do multiple things with, I'd like to have that 7-foot. Yeah, 7-foot rod. 7-foot Llama Glass, red line, and medium action. I've not heard of that. I haven't heard of it. Must be a laminated glass, I bet.
Llama Glass? Yeah. Never heard of it.
But yeah, I still have not found an ice rod that I'm like, okay, this is the one. I just haven't. But I haven't tried a whole lot of them. But like you go to Walmart or L&M or wherever, and you have these lines and lines of like HT, rods. This
you don't
long.
Go to Walmart to buy your fishing rods, do you?
But I mean,
please,
Cody, come on. Just saying, like you have those big, huge eyelets on those short rods, and just like, no.
Though there's something to be said about big, huge eyelets on short little rods. When she's 30 below zero and you're standing outside, they're not going to freeze up. Yep. But now everybody's sitting inside a warm shelter. Yep. So back in the day, that's why there was bigger eyelets on them on rods.
You probably won't catch me standing outside fishing in 30 below.
Neither me.
Not anymore, anyway. Mm-hmm. I would guess you get a smoother load up, so it's easier to keep the pressure on the fish. Yeah, I think with just a little bit longer, you have a little more give too.
Yep.
What's your favorite dead stick rod for walleye through the ice?
I'll be right back. I got one. I can't remember.
I don't dead stick a lot, but when I do, I've only got 4 or 5 ice fishing rods, and I honestly don't know if I could tell you the brands on most of them. I've got that Aricadia custom rod, which I like it, but I would have liked it in a medium. That's a 36, and I would have liked it in a 32 inch. So I'm constantly kind of looking. I see that St. Croix is starting to make a bunch more ice rods, so I'm going to probably look into some of them. And I also I've heard Fish Frostbite makes some good rods, but I have not bought any. So what do you got?
This isn't my dead sticking rod, but this is the one I grabbed. And this is not a St. Croix that I've been bragging up all night. But that's the one I grab most of the time when I go ice fishing.
Iron Range custom ice rods. Oh.
Customer gave it to me.
Feels good.
It's a nice rod.
It feels pretty good.
And I think for my dead sticking rod, it's usually like it's a 13 noodle. It's called. It's a good rod.
Yeah, I don't always run a dead stick, but yeah, I don't have a whole lot of ice rods. It's something I'd like to get some nice ones, but I just haven't yet. Some of the longer rods for ice fishing are used for fishing outside, not in the house, right? 42,
yep.
And obviously you're going to use a longer, little more stiffer rod for lake trout, hole hopping for lakers. Absolutely. Yep. What's the best line for big pike ice fishing? Braid.
Yes.
Well, whoa. I'll take that back. What do we use for tip ups?
Oh, plastic coated.
Yeah, but
plastic coated tip up line. But now are we fishing them with a rod and a reel, or are we fishing with tip ups? Because we're fishing with a rod and a reel, I'm using braid. If we're fishing with tip ups, I'm using plastic coated line with probably a 20-foot mono leader on a plastic coated tip up line.
You're going to use mono?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So I'm going to use fluoro, big game, Berkley big game fluoro. My buddy Daniel came up.
You don't need fluoro on Lake of the Woods, but it's your preference, whatever you think.
He had, I think it was 40-pound mono, and he got bit off. And I used 35 fluoro and didn't get bit off.
It was the way the fish bit it.
And true, but I think mono is just not quite as tough, I think, as fluoro. Well, you got to try this fluoro stuff.
6 to 1.5 dozen of the other there, my friend.
Right. G23, hello, good evening. Thanks for checking on our live stream. Been running for 2.5 hours now, and it's been, I'll have to say, it's been quite fun. I'll be fishing outside in 30 below because he doesn't want me in the shack. My Straker ice climbing suit will keep me toasty in the sadness. Frostbite rods I've been impressed with. Oh, that's great. I'll let you fish with me next time, Jake. I got just one of the ice rod from Iron Range. Seems like a quality company. Huh, I've not heard of them before. I will have to look into that. Mm-hmm. And if Russ is, maybe me and Russ can work out a deal on a custom rod. Does anyone else cook the first fish caught that day, or do you wait till you get done fishing for the day?
I don't understand.
Do you keep? Are you saying do you keep that one to eat, or you wait till the end of the day to keep that fish a little bit fresher? No notification from YouTube. And YouTube's been really goofy about notifications, especially for shorts. G23. Well, it was 40-pound fluoro Berkley. Okay, I was thinking it was 30, but oh yeah, that big game stuff is really hard to find. But I saw that Outdoors Again had some.
He's good. He's got everything.
But that fluoro, or that big game fluoro, that stuff is really good. And
not to push people, but if you want guns, he's got them too.
Yep. Another thing about tip ups for big pike. Are you usually use a quick strike rig? Mm-hmm. You should try. Wes Harder put me onto this. And actually, it wasn't Wes. It was Travis Madrazo, the guy that was working for him. A single circle hook. I think it was a number 4.
Really?
I'll never use a quick strike rig again. Though that was so slick. Very good hookups, and the pike never got that hooked deep.
Really?
Almost all. Yep. Single hook is the way to go. You just hook them right in the back, and that
Mhm.
like that much meat.
Mhm.
God dang, that works slick.
Wow.
What's the difference between medium light and medium fast? So a medium light is okay. How do I say this? The medium light is the build of the rod
Yeah.
or
The
whatever.
fast is in your tip.
And the fast is the action, so the tip. Yes. So the medium light would be what the heck
So
is
you'll
this?
get a medium light fast, you know. You get a medium light. Yeah, your fast is in your tip.
Yep. So an extra fast is really good for letting. Oh, I don't know how if I can explain this adequately, but yeah, your medium heavy would be bigger fish, a sturdier rod. Medium light's a little more give, and I think it would be better to Google it and read it than have me try to explain it, because I'm not going to be able to explain it adequately, and I probably will explain it wrong. But medium light is a good. I like a medium light rod. I don't like them for jigging as
Medium
much,
light.
but
I don't know. I'm not a huge medium. I like a medium fast.
I like
Personally.
I like the extra fast.
I like a medium light fast, medium light extra fast. I'm not a real big medium light guy. When I set the hook, I want a little bit of backbone there, and that's just me personally.
Yep. It depends on what I'm fishing for, though. Like,
Yeah.
like panfish, I like a medium light.
Well, yeah.
But walleyes, it depends on what I'm fishing with. Like, if I'm fishing drop shot, I do like a medium light. Jigs, probably a medium for me. Brian's calling a night. Thanks for the live. And if I get around to building some ice rods this year, I'll email you. Perfect. And send you one.
Thank you.
Awesome. Medium light is the power end, and the medium fast is the bend in the tip. A guy that builds rods.
Thank you.
Good explanation. Wish I could find a good place to trade some guns for some ice fishing gear. Oh, yeah. Well,
message me.
right. You maybe could.
I love 2A items.
You maybe could. I don't know if Shields or Cabela's would do something like that. I don't know. Local hardware stores might.
Yeah.
But or if you're a TRF, I'll get it to you at work. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just live 20 miles north of Thief River, so yeah, we got to hook up sometime, Brian. But well, I'm ready for a shower and a quick bite to eat and some sleep. I worked nights last night and slept 3 hours and got up and drove here. So
well, we'll do it again.
Yeah, we will. This has been really, really fun. Let me know what you guys think about this. We had pretty good conversation, good topics, good flow, good number of people in here all night. Appreciate the heck out of it. It's been a great time. If you guys are looking to get up on Lake of the Woods out of Baudette, you're looking for motels, charters, Lumacrap fishing trips for sturgeon, smallmouth bass on the Rainy River, pike in the spring or fall, walleyes year-round, charters, ice houses, sleepers, day houses, pretty much anything you want. Out of Baudette, Minnesota on Lake of the Woods, look no further than Lake Road Lodge. This is the guy to get a hold of right there. That is Marshall. And obviously you might be getting a hold of your wife, though.
You'll be talking to Sarah,
Yep,
Tammy, Gina, Gillian, one of the gals.
So, but
they get all their info from me.
Good place up here. Clean, comfortable rooms, good rates, and pretty friendly staff, and just a all-around good time. So we are gonna sign off and just really appreciate you guys. Hope you can get out and enjoy God's great outdoors, and we will see you on the next one. Hopefully a spearing or tip up. I think tip ups would be more fun tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. Try that for a few hours. So have a good night, everyone. Appreciate it.